Talking with Beecher. Let's go.
Nah, you're way too quiet, bro.
Way too quiet. 95.5 we're with Mark Beecher. I've never done headphones before.
No?
No, I've never done anything respected like that.
There we go.
This is nice.
Yeah, thanks, man.
This is cool. Are we actually recording?
Yeah, we're recording right now.
Oh, dude.
We can talk shit. I don't care.
Dude, what is up? I haven't seen you forever.
Trent, yeah, where'd you drive from tonight?
Where was I? Today, I came from Port Arthur. And then, it's just not too far. But
Louisiana?
yeah, Louisiana.
Hold
on. Are you leaving?
No,
Because I came from Louisiana. But I just shot a Mustang out there that was done in the 70s. And the McPhillips, the son Billy, got a hold of me and said, hey, I think with what you do, obviously, like, my thing is to immortalize Americana. Yeah, that's our issue 10. And I'm working on issue 11 right now. And what's so cool is actually this vet, well, the front of it looks like a concept of a Ferrari, but that was all done in the late 50s by Jerry Bellot, Bellot. He's an awesome Cajun guy out of
Louisiana.
And long story short, just got done doing that. Actually, I was in Houston this morning. I dropped off the model. She flew back to San Antonio, and I drove back to Port Arthur to do a little bit more scanning, because the whole process is you have, when you do a history car, there's photo albums. Luckily, this guy did photography too. Like, even before he drag raced his Willys and his Mustang, he would go to the tracks and photograph. So I have a gold mine worth of stuff, but like, where do you start, right? And
did you use any of his photographs in these?
No, so
or
I'm
they're
actually
all yours.
The magazine, the issue he's in is literally the next one.
Oh, okay.
So I'm ready to go to print. I would say I wanted to go to print early on the 1st, but our scheduled is the 14th, and to my first burp of many.
Yeah.
Imagine if we did like shots or something for burp. We'd be sitting here like, what?
Okay, wait. We got to slow down here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we just talked because I've known Trent for a long time.
Yeah.
So I like old cars. I have always had old cars. And Trent is a guru, photographer. Are you a photographer, writer too?
No, you don't want to see my writing. if you listen to the way I talk how I write, and I don't even talk good.
Mine either. But he just now, a little while ago, started his own magazine.
Yeah.
Old school, Speed and Culture.
Speed and Culture.
Right here.
Yeah, that's our. I guess that'd be like the newest one. So by the time this gets out, I think issue 11 will be printing. But what's cool is we're gonna have a lot in common today. Not because of our history together. You know, we met on Grindr, which we both.
Wait a minute.
We both
Hold on.
It was he said, "Hey, talk to me on Grindr."
I almost didn't catch that. What the fuck?
There's no car stuff on there. I thought it was a car app. It is not. I said I went to Hot Rods and I had DMs that had nothing to do with cars. And no, it's plain. But no, it's what's cool about this is you talked about several times in the interviews with like Jake or Mark or even Tiffany and John Bang Riley.
Johnny Riley.
You brought up about how you started this amazing gym, by the way.
Thanks.
You know, I haven't told you on the air, but it's just, I'm so proud of you. This is
Thanks,
super
man.
bitchy,
Thanks.
man.
It was hard, but
I've always had a respect for people that just go for it, and you're going for it. And me and you both, would you say May 2020 when you opened up this location?
May, yeah.
Well,
2020, everything was shut down.
It was shut down.
I had to.
Well, you know, you kind of had to do something. Well, when Rod and Culture was going away in the fall, I decided to, this is 2019, I would say August. I think we made the announcement that Rod and Culture was going away, but I told Zombie I want to keep it going. And I started Speed and Culture with my partner, Chuck Stanfield. And obviously, he's the reason why it's veteran-owned, not me. I think the only military I've been in is Salvation Army, which I was honorably discharged out of Salvation Army.
I've only been in the stores. That's about it.
No, but in seriousness, it was crazy because I saw the writing on the wall. And this is kind of like a tale of why I wanted to keep a magazine going, because kind of like the slogan, immortalizing Americana, I wanted to preserve history And especially during certain presidencies and all this new political stuff, I kind of felt like a PR guy of a fighter that's like done a lot of bad stuff in the public. You're like, oh, you want to be a fan, but because all this stuff going on, it's like, how do you root for that? But I thought it was my duty and the awesome team that we put together. I wanted to, man, it's kind of crazy because we haven't talked in so long, and it's kind of emotional to think about it because I haven't really spoken face to face with somebody about this, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears, and it's I think it's the word is accumulation of so much, and but just to get like the whole magazine stuff out of the way, because I can't wait to talk about our past of like the fighting stuff, the car stuff, and meeting through that. But basically, I just wanted to preserve our American history with cars, music, military, sport stuff, and just like kind of ride the coattail of vinyl, the culture of vinyl. There's something physical. There's more intimacy, or just being intimate with a record. And I wanted to carry that over with magazines. And I saw the print industry dying. And I thought, well, I can't make a magazine that's only like maybe hot rods or only customs or only muscle cars. So I was like, I have to find a way to do everything, because I love to do everything. There's so many different types of martial arts. But imagine if you have a gym that you can only do one thing. You can only do one of that. But I wanted to do almost like MMA. I wanted to do everything could be found in the structure. So like this side is the pre-62 side, right? And this side's like 1964, 5-ish to about 1980 history. And I did that because I thought, well, if I'm going to be quarterly, I wanted to give people as much as I could within their 100 pages. And in some magazines, like this issue 3, it's like I got stuff from the 1920s, but yeah, you'll learn about car history and military stuff all the way until about 1980. So, man, but all in all, we'll get into it. But I just wanted to do a platform to preserve American history.
So you like took over Rod and Culture.
Yeah. So I was only a photographer for Rod and Culture.
You were a photographer for Rod and Culture. Is that my phone? Amateur hour. Yeah. Yeah. That's 2 podcasts. Oh, I'll throw this guy out of here.
Might be 3.
I got guys fighting. What are you going to do? Anyways.
I hear you.
So, like, I used to buy Rod and Cultures, dude, all the time.
Yeah.
Because I've always liked old school cars. But you were a photographer for them? You didn't, like, own the magazine or anything?
No, I would just always find all the, I would get sent a few assignments, but I would always go out and try to find the coolest stuff possible here in the States. And I would go I've been overseas a lot to shoot cars, because even if
where'd you go?
I've been humbly, in a humble way, I've been very thankful to go to Australia 5 times, New Zealand, Italy twice, Switzerland. Ireland was 4. I filmed with Strike Tech for with the boxing gym up in North Ireland, like Belfast. I think that's
Belfast. Yeah, I've been to Belfast.
Yeah. What's the Connellan? His son's an awesome boxer. Mike Connellan.
I don't know a lot about boxing.
Yeah. Well,
it's weird, but I just don't.
But yeah. But no, I've been to like 48 of the. No, I'm sorry. I've been to 49 of the 50 states. I just haven't been to Hawaii yet to shoot. But there's so much Americana, obviously, within our country, but outside the country. It's weird to think people here don't appreciate what we have here as much as sometimes Italian people do, or Australian guys do, because it's harder for them. Like, maybe they appreciate it more because it's harder for them to get parts, right? Because they have to, I call it airport prices. They're going to pay basically double because they have to get the part. Taxes,
we all do now.
Customs.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But no, just I just been on this path, man, since we met. I think we shot with your 53 Mercury. 54 Mercury. That's
Sun Valley that I had to sell.
Yeah.
Sucks, man.
And that car used to be owned by I think the Miranda brothers out in the East Coast. I think
it was from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know who owned it?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I've shot with this. Actually, you know what? This old website. See that?
I got his website up here. I got a TV up here. I got his website up here.
By the way, I haven't updated this probably a couple years, and I'm just you know how it is. You just put everything up on Instagram, Facebook. But this is some of the older stuff I've done. Like you can see there's the Coliseum and there was a Vatican.
Yeah.
That 57 DeSoto I shot in the second biggest fort in the world, which is in Turin, Italy. We got to drive that in there. But man, it's
you know who else has a cool old school car scene? Sweden.
Oh yes, and they can't have junk. And a lot of countries
and they're nice. They're not. There's no rats there. They're like painted nice. Everything's pristine, super nice.
You have to have nice stuff because they won't allow it. Like
they don't allow it in the country.
They just don't want junk out there. Like
really?
So that's why some of the nicest cars will go out there because they have these restrictions. You know what I mean? You don't really see junk. You can. I'm sure there's ways you can get it in, but I think customs probably make it hard. I'm probably talking a little bit like behind the Wizard of Oz curtain a little bit, but I've been told like certain customs will be like, well, actually, I think we should get paid this much to let you have this project you bought from America or something like that. So I know that happens, but I'm just a camera guy. I just get kind of told some stuff.
Yeah.
But your car, what's crazy, to be honest, your photo shoot has put me on the path of so much of the most amazing like stuff I've gotten to do. Because like
from that one, you had many before that.
I think, we met, 2010?
I don't remember.
I know it was.
I get hit in the head a lot. Yeah.
So, sponsored by CT.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I believe we did the shoot with the Sin City Joker Car Club. Or is that the car club? I think it's a clothing line. I'm trying to think of Jesse from is it Sin City? He has the clothing and then the club, the Sin City Jokers, or maybe the Joker's part of the clothing line. But anyway,
I don't remember.
Well, you know who was the model on your car?
Jamalette was her name?
Jamalette Gaxiola.
How do I remember that name?
She's a UFC ring car girl.
She is?
Yeah.
Now she's a UFC ring girl? Oh, awesome.
You remember I just let this know. I'm a professional. You asked me.
I'm a professional too.
You asked me to put her on the roof of your car.
Yeah.
And you remember what happened?
It dented in, yeah.
Yeah, and then I had to put my forearm and go poof.
Yeah.
And at the time, we didn't know each other, so I'm like, this fight guy beat the shit out of me. Right?
No.
Well, remember, and then we'll kind of get into it, but I've always felt like this like baby deer hanging around a bunch of like tigers and fucking lions, because when I'm filming like fighters in their camps, they're like, who's that malnourished little kid with the camera? Oh, he's filming us today. Oh, okay. That's me. But no, that shoot has extended into so much awesomeness. We'll say again, my grammar's awful, so we're gonna be a lot of people going like, I don't think that is a word.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck what people think.
Yeah, you just had an engineer on here and stuff. And you got this kid from
whatever, dude. I like to learn about lots of stuff, and I love old cars and I love old school stuff. And you guys are keeping tradition alive, which is crazy. I go to a bunch of car shows, as many as I can. I mean, owning a business, but there's a lot of people that are super into it, but you are really keeping it alive with these old school magazines. I love them, dude. They're awesome.
And I just wanted something that was high enough quality that where you can leave it on your coffee table, but it was in the shape of that old school vibe of a magazine. You think of like Life, even though Life magazine was much larger in size. There's just something cool about, like, you can see the cover and it has like Joe DiMaggio on it, or JFK. You don't even have to look at the year. You know what era, because the icon or the iconic person that they have on the cover truly represents the era. So with these magazines, with the covers, I design the covers, and since issue 7, I design every single page myself. So I shoot it, do the layout, everything. And
that was a task.
Yeah, it saves us about $3,000 an issue, so it was easy for me to take over.
Yeah.
But I just, like this Porsche that was done by Dean Jeffries in the 50s, it was on the cover of Ron and Custom, I think like in 58 or 59, so I copied, or not really copied, but I got a lot of inspiration from that cover, and it was perfect because that issue was called like the Custom Sports Cars or something like that, American Custom Sports Cars. So I thought, well, this Porsche was on the cover, even though it's who makes Porsches? Is it like German? No,
I think German.
It may be German, but
I think so.
I think. That's the vet. Well, anyway, just they had like 2 other custom cars, and I thought, well, I know this car exists because it's a 56 Corvette with a custom front end. This is a 56 Porsche with the customized front end. So I put 56s with custom fixes. And that's my first time I ever ran a Porsche. And obviously this side is like a Willys gasser that raced since the 60s. But what I like about it is I get to feel like, is it an archaeologist? The people that go to like Egypt and do the tombs. And
that's what I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Well, you've asked before, like people at the obviously it's at the end of the podcast. What do they think or they would be doing if they weren't doing what they're doing?
Hey, he watched my podcast. I got a good guess finally.
Obviously, driving through Houston, you can probably to get to each end, you can probably listen to 2 or 3 podcasts.
Yeah,
on the
for
time
sure.
Of day. Yeah,
for sure.
I think there's a meme that says Houston is 45 minutes
away from Houston. Yeah.
But what's kind of cool is I'm finding out history that is changing our old history books in a sense of our, car magazines.
What do you mean?
Well, like for instance, when we get a assignment or I find a car to do, like Nick Hosmer, who's a good friend of mine, and he's a great writer for the magazine. He's just such wealth of knowledge. He's like, hey, the Crying family out of Buffalo have this truck that used to race since, like the 60s and then whatnot. But long story short, I found the widow. I found part of the guys on the team. And we all had a dinner in California before the Grand National Roadster Show. And we found out that, I'm trying to think the most politically correct way to say this in the car world. It's like, so they thought this truck was called the Cow Automotive.
A cow automotive?
So Cal Automotive was like a racing team. And so on the door, this truck was all black, bare metal bed, and it said Cal Automotive. 33 Willys truck. Ron Bizio bought that truck, but while he was away, let's just say the person that had the project with him sold it back, or someone's like, we want that truck back. So when Ron gets back to town, he goes, where's my truck? And they go, well, he sold it back to blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I still want a truck. So they actually bought another 33 Willys truck, and it was black with the bare metal as well. So as you can kind of see in the bottom right it looks like it could have been the Cal Automotive truck, but you just take off the gold lettering of Cal Automotive.
Right.
And so, but when we had dinner with the widow and also Dennis, who was like the right-hand man, was like, well, that's not the same truck. And I'm like, well, I'm about like 2 weeks going to print. And I actually found a photographer in the 60s that shot this in Bakersfield and Irwindale, all these things.
This same truck?
This
or the other one?
Well, what we thought was the original version,
okay.
Right? And I got this whole layout designed, it really cool. And I'm like, you're telling me that truck has nothing to do with the story? I'm like, well, they're like, it does, but it's not the same one. So again, I'm going to say this a lot. Sorry. So long story short, which means it's almost a comma for me. I'm going to keep going. But it's like, we had to change the whole layout with weeks to go. Be like, I have to do what's right, not what's easiest. And that kind of goes into a lot today. It's people want to be first before, like it's better to be first than be factual, if that's even a word. Like
that is a word.
Nice.
Yeah.
So so hopefully my correct words will counter all the burps I have. All right. So sorry, Kayla. She said, don't drink anything with carbonated. You're going to have a bunch of burps.
Whatever.
So, sorry. It's my fiance, Kayla. So anyway, so it was cool because we have this obligation and this responsibility and this little bit of weight on our shoulders to be like, do I burn the midnight oil, change the layout, change the story? Of course I do, because it's the correct history. And it's my responsibility that in 40, 50 years from now, if someone wants to build one of these cars, I want them to have as much facts as I can and have the best shots of it. That's why I love to shoot like in the sun, because you know exactly what color the car is. So let's say if someone to do your Cadillac, but they only have black and white photos, well, they're only going to guess what, obviously it's white, but let's say if it was, look gray in the black and white photo, it's like, I wonder what, maybe it was red, blah, blah, blah. So, man, it's crazy.
Well, dude, that's someone that takes pride in their work is what that is.
Yeah.
That's not like that you have a responsibility to have factual information. No, you don't. Nobody has that responsibility. What that is someone that takes pride in what they fucking do.
Yes.
And that's awesome, dude. Like there's so many people nowadays that don't,
Yeah.
And that's great.
Maybe it's authenticity.
Yeah. And you take pride in being authentic.
Yes.
Which is great, dude.
Well, you think about, in more of your world, let's say if we're setting up a movie scene and someone wanted to, like traditional Thai fights, you have to have the music. Maybe you have to have people betting in the crowd, or like you think of like what's the
have to have gambling.
Yeah. So you think, even though if it may be more stereotypical or not, but if you're trying to paint the scene, you have to involve those things to make it like you have to take someone to that time. It's no different where if I'm shooting a car and a car is like late 50s and we're cruising that car, I like to play music from the late 50s.
Me too.
It puts you in that zone as if this vehicle is a time machine, and it's like a windshield therapy, because I feel like when we're cruising a car with the right music, there's almost not a better feeling in the world. And that's what I'm trying to preserve. And I from the youth to the elderly, I'm just trying to have everybody come together, because I thought I wanted to make something that made people click. I didn't want to make a click. I don't want a cool kids club. I want this to be an open house, because there's guys in this magazine, man, that, yeah, they have, let's say, over 500 cars, and they private jet that, okay, think of each issue as like a house party. I know guys that can privately fly themselves to that house party. And I know guys that put every cent what they have into their vehicle, where they basically like only like live in that vehicle. They would have to hitchhike to get to that house party. But once you get there, you go like, how did that guy and get invited to the same party as this gentleman?
Right. So everyone's we're all one, which is great.
You think about all the documentaries from music, sports, like when someone does a 30 for 30, you may not even care about that sport, that team, or whatever. But when you watch it and becomes the story somehow relates to you, you really care about that team, athlete, whatever it is, and you start rooting for them. And that's what I wanted to do with an issue where if you're a lowrider guy, maybe I shoot a car that makes you like hot rods or enjoy them and appreciate them, to understand, like in our issue 6, we did our first lowrider, and I knew I had to do it right. And when I made that to Centerfold as well, I looked at old lowrider magazines from the late 70s, because I want to give whoever is in that crowd or likes cars like that the show I did my work. Just like if we're trying to paint that scene of a true Thai fight, like if someone said,
yeah, there's very few people that will notice that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the thing is you take so much pride in your work that's what you're thinking about, is you want the authentic, real guys who really like lowriders. That's all I like is lowriders, mm-hmm. to like this magazine too. And that's a big thing now. So many people are not like that anymore. People don't give a shit about anything, and you take pride in what you do. Dude, that's a huge thing.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. How did you get into old cars and shooting them? Like, how did you get into photography? How did you get into the old cars?
You know what's crazy is you think of like that, I think the term is a butterfly effect. A lot of the greatest things in my life, like I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. And it's going to be pretty hard for me to hold back tears, because like you yourself, you mean so much to me, because if it wasn't for you, a lot of cool shit would not have happened in my life. And again,
that's awesome, dude, because I mean, that's my goal with everything. Mm-hmm. The only reason I still teach Muay Thai is because people still hit me up saying that I changed their life. And I'm like, I didn't do shit. I didn't do anything. But it's that's good, dude. I like that. So how did that, from that one photo shoot with my 54?
Well, before that, it's almost like, let's say that was like, you think of like fighting. Let's say that was like, you think of like LFA is almost like a minor league to like the UFC. Yeah. And that's not putting down any organization. But if you look at it, if you had to compare a bracket, well, I would say your shoot was almost like a good high-end like regional show that almost like they're doing like looking for a fight. That was why I could have been discovered. But to go back to A, and again, apologize for everybody. I will talk A to Z to X to T. But,
go ahead.
So the beginning is this, and man, I've always thought about the one day I'd get to tell like my story in this fashion. So all this is pretty surreal, man. That's why I'm glad that I got to do it on your platform. So being born north of Bakersfield, I'm from Porterville, California. And when you're from there, you're so used to going or hearing, where's that? Okay, you know where Bakersfield is? Okay, you know where Fresno is? I'm like right in the middle. And being in this position to get to do what I've been able to do is almost, you're not supposed to. And when you're from that area, if you're not going to work at the farm, or in the oil business or not the prison. Basically, if this is bars, do you want to be a prisoner or a CO, or what side of the bars do you want to be on? That's your choice. And I felt like that were like my only options. But I thought I was gonna play baseball for a living, and I was gonna go to this junior college, and I did this. Then I got offered a job in Texas with my brother-in-law Chris, and with this general contracting company. And I was always into cars though, because growing up north of Bakersfield, you have Formosa, Bakersfield, the drag strip. And so when I was growing up, I used to think that only old cars raced because that's all I saw them do.
Yeah. Awesome.
So 3. But then, my dad having cars and,
your dad had old cars?
yeah.
What did he have?
So he had Camaros, or the main one we still have that my sisters haven't done. Actually, it's being finished up a little bit up at DFW. Then we'll take it out to Memphis, Rick and Neil to paint, and for my future brother-in-law, Mikey Brown, to do the interior. That's like the hopeful to have it ready for the wedding. It's a 57 Chevy 2-door hardtop. When my dad had it, I believe with the way looking at the wheel choice and the stance, and it was like a 70s like street machine, the way he had it. He had this whole front tilt. It was steel too. It's like whole front clip went forward. But my sister's going to do more of like a mild custom 57 Buick grill and whatnot. So I was always around cars. My mom actually had maybe a 68 Camaro. And my mom's way cooler than me. She was like played in a band, had cars, and she's awesome. And so having that seed planted, like in high school, when everybody had the C10s and trucks, like they would lower and big wheels, I had a 72 short bed fleet side truck, but I had slot wheels, a little bit of rake. You had this little air hose. It would always leak all the time. So every day I'd have to put air on it. So it goes,
yeah.
And I had, that was my truck. And it's cool because we just found a photo of me parked at Formosa, and I was thinking that's like actually one of my own history photos. Like that, I took that when I got that like in high school or maybe just out of high school. So that's kind of cool to think about because all I do is preserve people's history, but I never think about like my own, which is kind of bittersweet, right? It's like a guy that works construction, like he builds all these buildings, but his house has so much a to-do list.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I moved to Texas, and the quickest way to talk about this is working for a general contractor. You learn how like every job site has like all these subs. We have concrete, site utilities, drywall, paint. Well, I would help with estimation, and it put me in a mindset where it helped me put together things. And when I moved to Texas, I'm like, what am I going to do in Texas? Like, I don't go to bars, rodeos, and like, even though like the
rodeos.
So I thought even though my lifestyle doesn't show it, but I'm like more on like the shy, want to be by myself guy in a sense, but my life is like, I have to be in front of a lot of people. And I was like, well, maybe I like cars. I love cars. Maybe I can organize shoots the way someone can organize a job site. So I would get like a photographer, a stylist, the clothing, the car, and I'd like watch it happen, right? And put stuff together. But right off the bat, I got screwed over by 2 photographers. There were some.
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh no, they're artists.
Yeah, I know.
They're artists.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I always think about like I remember thinking like these fucking. Oh, can we cuss on here? Oh,
dude, the name of the show is Talking Shit. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, so whatever. It's just like these fucking artsy fartsy douchebags, like,
yep.
And I'm like, I paid money for this to happen, and they won't give me the photos because they get in an argument with the model, and they go like, I'm like, did this happen at our shoot? No, right? No. Then why just have to do like, why can't I get my stuff? They're like, well, because I don't want to work with them and I don't want my stuff out there with them. So besides all the bullshit drama, I said, I don't want to deal with this. I'll just do it myself. And that's like one of the biggest gut feelings I've always gone with that's helped me is just, I'll just do it myself, rely on myself as much as I can. And so I organized my first photo shoot December 6, 2008. My first organized shoot was in
Dude, how do you remember these dates, dude? Maybe in CTE, but I don't remember date. What date was that?
I think I've always thought about that because I've always thought about that because I'm just like, that was the day my first organized shoot, and this is where it's all started. And with doing the history stuff, I think I saw something I saw the date and I said, I need to remember that just in case I ever do, I do like interview and need to talk about it.
That's crazy. You thought about that
great.
before. Yeah, that's fucking cool. Yeah, hell yeah.
So basically I did my first shoot, and then my first photographs I've ever did ended up on a magazine cover. So I hit the ground running.
Your first photo shoot, you got at the cover?
Magazine cover. And then also,
what magazine was it?
Amusing Cruisin'.
Amusing Cruising?
Is it? I think it's Amusing Cruisin'.
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, and I think it was Amusing Cruising. And then
I might have seen it. It
was like a gas station one too. It was and I also, one of the other shoots I did the first times, I went up to, again, kind of the whole crazy world of like, fighting and stuff. Matt Sunshine Fierro de Rosa, he was on the Tap Out show, and
I remember.
If I had one person to say I wish I would have saw in the UFC, it would have been him.
Sunshine.
Yeah,
Sunshine.
And so I randomly hit him up on MySpace because I think I saw him on that show, and I go, hey, I'm going to Chicago. Do you want to maybe shoot? And can I stay at your house? Because I don't want to, just to save money and I love to meet new people. Because at that time, even before UFC and everything like that blew up in the whole world of mixed martial arts, my sister Becky and my brother-in-law Chris up in DFW, they had the tapes and then obviously turned the DVDs, and I got all invested right off the bat. And so I've been kind of like, I was a fan before it was like cool, kind of like that band, like, oh yeah, underground, bro.
Yeah, and I know about that. I've been watching that for 16 years, bro.
Yeah, I was there. So basically, it's like that I did a shoot up in like Voodoo Larry's shop, and I remember I got burnt. My face got burnt because he had a custom that had flamethrowers, and I was right behind it, and I got this awesome shot, the flames coming.
You got this awesome shot, but my face got burnt.
So I had like this non-burn shape of the camera, and then above it was like, well, it should have done more because my eyebrows are way too big, so it would have probably helped me out to take them off. So I had that as my centerfold, and I got $300 for it. And where I come from, I was like, I may never have to work again. I got $300. It's like that movie.
Dang,
man.
I get a double wide.
Hey, I grew up in a single, so double wide, that's big city right there.
Hey, man, that's big bucks, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. That thing has 2 axles. Yeah, man, I just hit the ground running, and then I really, and this is one of those turning points, how with you, one of those good forks in the roads where, I don't know if it's a fork in the road, but one of those change of paths, let's call it, is my buddy Scratch, from Scratch's garage. We're going down to the roundup, maybe like 2009 or 10, and he's kind of like, what do you want to do with this photo stuff? I was like, man, I really love like that 50s look, that cartoon, high saturation, like a bunch of color. There's 4. And
you don't have to count them. Oh, yeah. 17 burps. Let's see who could beat my record.
Who can change? Yeah. So anyway, he's, what do you want to do with? And I told him, I just want to do stuff the way they used to. And he's like, okay. Here's a book of Andy Southern. Here's an old hot rod book, and this is what Eric Rickman would do. If you do something different, you're doing something wrong. If you want to do it like them, so take what they did and just build off of that. And so I would take the positioning of like Andy Southern, in the sun, perfect, front 3/4. But then I thought about like landscape photography and like beautiful like paintings, and that's why when I do photo shoots, I want beautiful backgrounds to where if you deleted the car, that's something you can probably hang in like your cafe or your living room because the background's so beautiful. Or the architecture where it's like, okay, this car was built in 1962. Well, luckily I found a house that was built in 62 or 63. So when I shoot it in front of that house, if I shot with the film camera in front of that house with that car, you can't tell it was 2022 because of how much work we put into it with the way the car was built. And if I used a girl, not showing like tattoos or having natural color.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. So you don't shoot girls with tattoos?
Well, I have, and I do, but it depends on the project. Like, okay, a little fighting bridge. Ashley Evans Smith has a bunch of tattoos. And I said, it doesn't make sense to me for if you want me to shoot you with a car, because even though historical wise, tattoos are thousands and thousands of years old. But when you look at old brochures and whatnot,
no, you're not showing tattoos, especially on girls.
Yeah, and like I
in
said,
the 50s.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Is that why, like, when you shoot 50s cars, which there's a bunch of them are 50s or older, you don't use girls that have like full sleeves or anything?
I hide
like
them.
that?
I hide them. Like in issue 7, Charlotte, I think she goes like Vega Von Bixen. She has sleeves, tattoos on her hands. But what we did is we found clothing that was up to her wrist, and then we had makeup over it. Because I'm not here to like, oh, like I look down on you because you have that. But I look and it's like, hey, we have a. If we're making like the movie Pearl Harbor, do you want an S10 in the background?
Exactly. Yeah,
So
I know what you're going.
I
I know
don't
where
want
you're going.
anything to take away from the era correct shoot. And so, yeah, I try to find models that have natural color hair, no tattoos, again, to have the authenticity. And it's harder, and it makes it funner because there's more discipline. But no, so basically, yeah, from the beginning of time, when I decided, I made a post one time like, hey, I'm really going to have discipline and I want to do shoots like this. I got a lot of flack because I was a newcomer. We don't have to count those. So
fuck with you. All right.
yeah, so it sucked because I thought, well, everybody in the world can do shoots like the whole typical, like, you know, when Viva was, you know, that, let's say if, and again, I'm going to say something might ruffle some feathers, but it's like, if you want me to shoot a car that's flat black with red wheels with a girl that has a bunch of tattoos and with a big umbrella, like that's like car show shooting to me. And there's no soul in it. I wanted to do things that just feel like I take the car owner back to the era when they first did it. Like when we did the cover of issue 9 with the Superbird with my fiance Kayla, one of my favorite things about that is the car owner goes, man, like just watching you guys work together. I think he said like a 50-foot stare, 500-foot stare. I can't remember what the term was, but you guys reminded me of me and my wife when we were younger with our cars in the 70s, because on purpose, I'm behind the camera, but I wore my 1970s, like Oklahoma Sooner, like windbreaker. I had a Fu Manchu, like I grew up like this by itself. And obviously the way Kayla's dressed, and we had a Superbird, and we found this church that had a really cool style. And I did it right to what the car owner's like, man, you just took me back to like mid 1970s.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope that he noticed that too.
Oh, well,
like that's your goal when you do these photo shoots.
Yes.
But he noticed it.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Just, it's crazy because, you know, we're on issue 11, and it's almost like if we're doing like fight history and we want to break down fights, but I'm on my like UFC 11. And you're like, where do you want to start, man? Because before the UFC, there was cards that were not even on, you know, published or on TV. But to kind of backtrack a little bit, so with what Scratch helped me, and it was crazy, in 1 week, Scratch, Von Franco, and my buddy Christian all called me separately in 1 week and kind of gave me a nice little boost going, hey, I like what you're doing. I just want to let you know, kind of like keep on keeping on, right? And nice. I just have a good feeling. And that means so much to me because growing up, you know, as a kid, being a mixed race person, then growing up where...
You're mixed race?
Oh,
you're a white boy. What are you talking about?
Oh, dude, you're
white as hell, man.
Some guy told me...
Fucking Bakersfield.
That's my God, I'm Bakersfield right here. That's when you can tell someone's from Bakersfield, because instead of saying like Bakersfield, or I went to Burton Middle School, I went to Burton. I'm on North Bakersfield.
That's California.
Yeah, Burton. And so, but it's so crazy. We'd almost have to do a couple of these because me and you both have all these, I say war stories, but not actual war stories, but like from traveling and meeting people, there's like, yeah. But anyway, let me go back on the basics. It's like, I found my niche. I was given a lot of motivation by everyone I hang out with is double my age. Because what I'm into was, you know, people were in their 20s in their prime, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, what I'm going after. And luckily, I stuck to my guns. You know, I had that slogan, kind of like classy, never trashy in a sense, right? And
that was your slogan.
Yeah.
It's still?
Well, it's immortalized in Americana, because that's really what I wanted. I've always wanted to do. So you just think of like that path was set, and that's what led me to get seen by Zombie, who had Rod and Culture, and that really helped because to work with somebody that never screwed you over. Never. Ever, ever, ever. And it makes it easier to work hard. That's why I would sleep in the airport in a different country, because I'm like, man, I bet if I can stay at the airport, that saves $120 to $200 US, and then I can put that money into like another flight for this. Because in that industry, like, you don't get paid until it runs. And if you're only quarterly, that's 4 checks.
A year.
And maybe it's like kind of like small 4 fights to kind of compare it to maybe a fighter that's watching this. But you have all these training camps in a sense that's kind of like, obviously not as physical. My body is.
Whoops. But I know what you're talking about. When we were fighting, we didn't make money. We worked and then fought. Like,
yes,
we didn't make any money.
The passion was your pay. I remember, I think one time you said, "Oh, I'm going to have I'm going to have hope for dinner." You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
That sounds right.
Yeah, you said, and I thought about that, but basically, there's this getting to that point where I'm starting to see my name in print, which is really cool, because kind of like in my upbringing, I've always wanted to feel like anybody have a place, because I've always wanted somebody to look at me and enjoy my presence because of what if I can make them laugh or happy. And when they see me, they're going like, I want to be around that guy, because he's always in good spirits.
You are, though, man. Yeah. I've known you for how many years, and we always had fun, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You always in a good mood, and I'm not. I'm fucking bad mood half the time, but whatever.
Yin and the yang, man.
Yeah,
but no, it's like, growing up in an area where it's just like, well, since I'm like, Mexican and white and Indian, all these things, it's like, well, I don't want anybody to just like judge me for that, because you live in an area that, I don't want to say like certain race terms, but like you get called this, you get called that. Or on another list of classes, it's like when people would find out like, oh, you live in a trailer, and you're like, dang, you're about to judge me because of something that's kind of out of my control.
That's bullshit.
And it sucks, because you're growing as a kid, as a child, and you're trying to like, trying to find yourself. And but no, really, I was like, I want to do something that where people just see what I'm doing. Like when I played sports, even though I played with, I was all the friends, all the jocks. You think like the typical like show, like those certain race people hang over by the tree. The jocks over here, the ag guys are here, or the skaters and punks are over here. But I was friends with everybody. I was a guy that had like a Hank Williams Senior shirt on with a giant mohawk, Confederate flag belt buckle. But I played sports. Super progressive.
I was progressive in my day.
Thank you. No, but because I was just a mixture of my environment, plus I just like so many things, and to channel it in today, I've always wanted to do things where I can document someone, and I didn't care if when I would visit their home, if they really had a home. Some guys felt like they just lived in a shop, and it's okay. I don't want them to know it. You deserve to be in print. You are American history, not because of your race or your religion, or even no religion, or your wealth class.
You're the real American history. There's working class American history, which is most of American history. And these cars bring you back to that history. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I love old cars, but it just does. And if somebody, who cares? If that's how they live, that's how they live,
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't need much to be happy.
Yes. You talked about it, about what is rich, right? And you can have a giant house and fancy material, but those guys commit suicide too, or they're still unhappy. And it's very sad to hear that. But to me, true wealth is being happy with yourself. And I'm very fortunate to have a significant other. Kayla, we have a beautiful house and property, and obviously it's not the biggest in the world, but it's like, I'm happy, man. I get up and I go, everything I can do for her, the dog, Bane, for Mikey, because, he's my soon to be brother-in-law, and he's one of my best friends. And it's such a cool setup that I can't believe this is my real life. Again, I'm talking with Mark Beecher, who I've, again.
Nah, you're my bro.
Yeah.
Dude,
but again, it's like, it's just one of those things that, again, I apologize, because this has been bottled up for, without bringing up a hard subject, because like when my dad died, it's almost hard to believe that that's the same life. Like I've been so used to living a life without my dad, where you kind of, it's like a chapter. Almost you think of your childhood, you're like, hey, yeah, that was the same childhood. Of course, you only have one childhood, and you kind of think like you're so focused on the now, but sometimes you just got to like take a step back and look where you came from, because certain people, we come from hard upbringings, or like life. You get a hand of cards basically when you're born, middle of your life, and maybe when you die, and it's all about how you deal with the hand that you're given, and you just play with it. And I'm very fortunate to do what I do coming from there, and I just want to spread. Man,
you want to spread this. I'm gonna see what you're gonna spread. That anybody can do it if they really follow their dream of what they need to do, and they could find happiness like you did.
Oh, absolutely. Again, this whole time since the moment I walked in and saw you, I'm just like finding back these tears. I'm like, I've wanted to do this for so long, or I've wanted to earn the right to tell a story that's maybe worth listening to.
Yeah, but that's you being hard on yourself, man. Because I've known you for 10, 15 years, and you've always had great shots. I mean, your photography, and look at this. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. You might not think so, but I'm not a photographer. I can't do that, dude. I cannot do that. And
it's all the pieces,
You've always had, and you stuck true to what you love to do.
Yes.
You didn't sell out and do, well, I'm going to do this kind of photography now because I make money. No, you stuck to what you're doing, and now you're happy with it, and that's huge in life, man.
To live a life where I get to be involved with all my passion is so fun. Like in 1 week, I brought up Ashley Evans Smith. I did her and Christy Lopez or Crystal Lopez. I think it's Christy Lopez. She's a fight for Bellator, and I did like an old school boxing, scene. And that made sense. I told Ashley, go ahead and show your tattoos, because it's not like you have like Burger King or some kind of brand new type of like her tattoos are very like, a lot of it's like gray coloring, and I don't think there's a lot of coloring like reds and blues and whatnot. And I was like, let's do that. And well, maybe 2 days before, I shot Valentina Shevchenko and Antonina with the Zephyr, and then a couple days later, I did Marion Renell with I think it was just like solo shots of dresses with vintage homes. But it's just so cool to think like in 1 week I did 5 female fighters in vintage form. And it's just so cool because I'm so lucky that I have actually proof of this, and like, photos and videos.
I have proof. I did this. I have photos.
Yeah. And then because I'm like, we'll be watching like a UFC fight card and be like, oh, I got to shoot them with the 37 Zephyr. And somebody be like, no, you fucking didn't. I'm like, well, here.
Look, here's the picture. Look, what the fuck?
And then plus two, because I feel like I'm gonna have Alzheimer's or something like that someday. So because I have such a bad
memory.
I have
it now. What are you talking about?
Probably. I didn't even know that we're recording. I didn't know where I'm at. I've been driving for so much. This all feels like a dream, and it's. I feel bad for whoever has to listen to this. But anyway, so it's just, I'm so fortunate where do we start? It's like, let's go back to you. When I did that shoot with you, that led into a relationship where it's like, hey man, if you ever come to Vegas, doors open.
For sure.
By the way, not telling me you had a giant ass dog.
I did. My big dog. He was super
Corsa.
nice though.
It was a Max, but it was what was the name?
Magnus.
Magnus. Yeah. And what I loved is I remember the first time I stayed. Matt Riddle I think that was like the first time I came over. Was it Matt Riddle?
Maybe. I don't know.
And then Amir Sadalov was like the second. Like I remember he had different roommates.
Yeah.
Amir Sadalov I've met. I just remember one of the first times I think it was when Amir and you lived together. I remember one time I walked in. I did not know you have a dog, and you have a black couch. And I started putting out my stuff, but then I seen the layer of the couch and another black layer that started moving. And I was like, what in the world? And then I just see this big dog like, whoa, look at me. I'm like, oh my God. Like
yeah, he was 160 pounds.
Yeah, and I
think
think I text you, I'm like, you have a horse in your house, like a gargoyle horse, and you're like, oh, just grab the broom. He's scared of it. And I remember sweeping, and it sounded like like Jumanji when all the animals came through, and he just ran off.
Yeah,
best dog ever though.
Yeah, he was super nice.
And to be in situations like, and I think Matt Brown came over. That's how I met Matt, obviously through you, who now I have an awesome relationship with. And I think I don't know if I met Forrest Griffin through you, but I got to shoot around him, and I think I just name dropped you to kind of break the ice, because I have to do that all the time because I'm like anxiety, like I'm this nervous wreck because I did that fighters retreat in Vegas. I'm like, there's Matt Hughes, there's Forrest Griffin. I'm like, how do let me get in?
I know Mark. Hey man, I know Mark Beecher.
I did that with Rogan too, because after his shows, you did like meet and greets and stuff. And I go like, well, how can I, besides say like, oh great show, you're funny, love the podcast, something like that. I just go, Beecher says, what's up? And he goes, you know Mark Beecher? And I go, yeah. Like I stay at his house, shoot his cars. And he's like, oh man. And like, it breaks that like typical,
oh, that's fucking cool, dude.
Yeah. So
yeah, Joe's super cool, dude. He's a super nice guy. I haven't hung out with him much, but a couple times, had some drinks.
He remembers you. He just saw you on your, gave you a shout out.
He's got to remember.
It's always a tattoo.
He's got to remember me, dude, forever, because I hooked him up with this artist. But he, on the other side, he's super cool and smart too.
Oh, yeah. And the second time, I brought up the same thing just to see if he remembered, and I go, hey, Beecher said, what's up? And he kind of went like, how's he doing? And I was like, oh, he's doing great, blah, blah, blah. But no, I feel like I've been able to, I'm not cool, but the life I have is super cool.
That makes you cool.
And because of the cool people I've got to meet, again, it's just so fun.
The same with me, dude. I feel the same way, I mean, I wanted to be a fighter. I didn't want to be a coach, but come to find out, I'm way better at coaching. I'm just better at it. I know what you shouldn't do, because that's what I did. So, and I just hang out with the cool people. And if you hang out with the cool people, that's your people. You're that person, dude. And
finding out, and you kind of helped me with this too, because we're all human. We all eat shit and cry at this, we all do that. And, but, filming fighters and war veterans and car guys, you realize we're just all humans. And I just have to find a way, and like, how do I break? There's always this wall when you get on an assignment and you have to interview someone or whatnot. I'm like, how do I show them I truly care and I respect the topic or your position? Because, let's say you're filming a fighter, if they get hurt during the week and the rumor starts. Like, I remember I was part of, I was very thankful to be part of like the double champ camp with Patricio and Henry Cejudo was doing. They're both going for their second belt, when he was going for 125, I think Henry was. Oh no, 135 when he fought Marlon Morales, and then Pitbull was fighting, I think, Chandler. That was all part of the same camp, and I got to film that. Well, during it, I think I'm allowed to say this, but I remember during the week, he got hurt.
Who?
Cejudo did,
yeah.
And that's why he had this, the straps on his ankles. And I remember my phone started blowing up, and people were like, "Hey, I'm thinking about putting like money on Henry. Like, what's up?" See, that's a fine line.
You can't say nothing.
Oh, that's a fine line, because my friend or not, the respect in my position, because how I was screwed over by a photographer, I don't want to be that same typical, like, I'm going to do it for my tweet, or I'm going to do it for be like, hey, I just found out Henry got hurt. But I was like, no, man, he's good. Like, he's fucking ready to go. I think he's going to win it. You got to play it like that. And it sucks because you're kind of like, just tell us the truth, but you can't, because what's more important is the fighter, because they go through the blood, sweat, and tears of that camp, and all their coaches, everybody's invested into that camp. And why should I, a fucking photographer, to glorify my insight, to be like, hey, guess what I found out?
But he won though, so how about
that? Dude, I'll tell you what, that was one of the coolest things, because what you see, and like with the coach Eric, and what you see, it kind of like, it's almost, I guess, maybe like a analogy of like WWE. There's like a little bit of character, but behind the scenes, those guys really care. They work hard, and obviously they don't get to see that, but well, they do, but they sometimes see that character. But just be able to be like at Henry's house during an Easter, especially, that's such a big thing in the Mexican culture as well. And to sit down with him and just kind of shoot the shit. I go like, how did I end up here where someone invites me to their house, or even like yourself, or like Strong Style, when they go, hey, because the way you carried yourself, if you ever want to like train, join a class, just come on in. And I'm like, dang, that's super cool that like you just film Stipe, which is one of the greatest heavyweights ever. And then the coach is like, you're welcomed here anytime. And obviously with that background, I kind of spoke about being a kid and you just want to be accepted for who I am, not who I'm trying to be, or I hope you think I am. It's a fulfilling
And
thing.
you are.
Yeah.
And hey, you know what I heard? I just heard this. It's a rumor.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's true yet.
Me or what?
No, not you.
Okay, good.
Stipe versus John Jones heavyweight.
Me and Mikey were just talking about that. I think Stipe is the underdog bet, and I might put a little bit on it.
Oh yeah,
I put a little bit on.
Man, I cannot bet against John Jones, bro. I just can't. Dude.
See, we joke about like Mikey and I could probably like make a living off of sports betting if we had like backers. And I always joke too, like I sell sports cards and I run a magazine on the side because of how decent like the sports card stuff sell. And I sell paper with people on it to hopefully make more money to put cars on paper. But no, it's, I love watching fights so much, and now we can bet on them. And like, I remember I was so mad. I was going to put like a couple bucks on Pena to submit Nunes, because it was like plus 3,000. I don't remember what it was. I'm like, that's the only way I kind of see it. And I'm like, kind of put my phone down. We started watching it, and everybody looks at me like, dude. I'm like, oh, I didn't see how much. I'm like, I never pressed sent.
Man, I never saw that happening either. I did not see that coming, dude. But dude, I lived in Vegas when they first started allowing gambling on UFC, and the odds makers didn't know shit, dude. I used to bet. Okay, I'm not going to name names. Some of them.
I know that's what I was going to ask about. Like, do we not say names?
He's going to win by knockout. And I bet $50, I won like $800, dude. Because the other guy was the guy they were pushing, that they were on all the commercials and all this. So they're like, oh, he's going to win. Because they just watched the TV. They didn't know about it. Well, now they know. But back in the day, I used to win all kinds of money.
See, I've thought about asking you on certain things, but I thought, that kind of goes back to that being a photographer behind the scenes.
But dude, I'm honest about this shit. If I think someone is better than someone, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's fighting. I could clip that dude. He could be way better than me. I could clip him. I could win. But if I think someone's better than somebody and they're going to win, I think he's going to win because of this and this and this.
You called out, I don't think, we used to train this person, but if I explain it, it's almost, you can tell what fight it is, but we're okay. It's already happened. But you told me like, hey, this person is going to get finished instantly. They're going to put themselves in a bad, because they stopped training with you and they found themselves in a bad situation. And I remember you told me, like, I'm like, what do you think about this fight? It's going to be good. You think that person's going to beat that person? And you're like, no, that challenger is going to get, taken out fast. And the fight ended like in 13 seconds.
I have no idea what fight you're talking about. After the podcast, I'm not going to tell you all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's like, I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like,
there's been thousands of fights since then.
He's a wizard.
Man, I mean, I've been studying the game a long time, and I have to come up with game plans against people. And my game plans have been, let me knock on wood here, have been really good, and you have to have a game plan A and B, because sometimes A doesn't fucking work.
Goes out the window.
So, okay, we got to change this plan, So you have a couple game plans, but most of the game plans, that's how we beat a bunch of people with guys that everyone else says weren't as good as the guys they were fighting.
Yeah.
Well, when we game planned you, then you lost. That's it.
I think one of my favorite runs is being at home with my hyena shirt on when like Brown's fighting, and he was on like that 7-win streak. It was like 7 or 8 win streak.
7. I trained him for 7 of his fights, and he won them by knockout.
Yeah, it was always on Fox. I felt like too. I'm like, dude, put him on Fox, even though it's probably like the worst technique. I was like, dude, when you stick out your mouthpiece, you're unbeatable. Like when you do that.
Man, don't. Man, gonna talk to Matt Brown right now about that. I've already told him about that. He said, like, dude, I can't fucking help it. I can't help it. I just, and I'm like, that's so bad to open your mouth when you're fighting.
Oh, because
you get hit here.
I know.
Break your jaw, you know? But he's like, dude, I can't help it.
Well, let me ask you this, because you've on a past podcast you brought up about seeing so much culture and stuff. When was the moment where you knew, like, this is my niche and I should be doing this with my life, like with coaching?
Wow, that is a good question. Why are you interviewing me? Okay, anyways, I don't know, dude. I think I was still fighting when I was coaching, but I think one thing that like flipped my head that I'm good at reading people was Kevin Ross one time fought. We went to some amateur fights, and his guy pulled out because amateurs that's what happens. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, we have a boxer that weighs 170. You want to fight him? Just boxing? And Kevin was like, yeah. And I was like, really? Yeah. So he boxed him. Anyway, the guy was throwing a jab, and when he threw the jab, he would drop his left hand right after the jab. So I said, look, dude, here's what you need to do. You need to draw that jab out on him and slip and fire a right hand. And Kevin was like, okay. And he listened. He went in there, and the guy wouldn't jab. So he kept trying. So finally, Kevin like dropped his hand like this.
Waiting for it.
And then when he jabbed, he slipped and bang, and he knocked that dude out with headgear on and everything. And I was like, wow. I mean, I didn't think that at the time, but then it kept happening again and again. And then on The Ultimate Fighter, if you watch season 7, the producer came up to me and Cameron, who was the jiu-jitsu coach, and we would talk about, okay, Matt Brown is fighting him. This is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to do it. And she said, if I could put a little box on the corner of the screen and have you guys talking before the fight, but sync it up with the fight, every fight was almost exactly what you said.
That's cool.
And I was like, what? Really? I was like, well, that's what we try to do as coaches. That's what we try to do. It doesn't work every time, but that's what we try to do. Yeah. I think that's where it kind of clicked. And then I was like, well, I'm better at coaching than I was at fighting. So I'm a coach now. That's it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And isn't it easier when you kind of like, I don't know if it's your gut or whatever you want to call it, where you just accept something, but it ends up turning out just, it was the right path. It's almost like a certain street, like you should drive down this street. And then you drive down, I'm like, this is super smooth and nice scenery.
Well, it worked for some of my buddies.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this magazine is awesome. And what else do you do besides these magazines? Wait. Let me slow this down a little bit. How do you get paid when you put out these magazines?
So, merch helps the most. Merchandise helps the most. The magazine is just
where do we get some of that merchandise at?
Speedkulture.com.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that's
what do you got? You got shirts?
Yeah, we got shirts, hats. We're going to actually work with the Oxford pennants to make our first pennants. We have customized, posters, because some of it's done by, when you do artist features, we do stuff, shirts and posters, whatnot, from that artist. But what helps us the most is just straight buying it from us. And because we did the concept of subscriptions, just buy it from us direct. There's no middleman. Like, I design it, send it to the printer, they print it, comes to me and Chuck and our wholesalers and the stores that carry us, and then you buy it directly from there or just our website. You talked about in May 2020, you opened the gym. Well, we started. Our first issue came out January 2020, but right behind it was like March 2020, even though we're quarterly, but they did our issue 1 wrong, and it was, it is glossy now, but when they first came out, it was matte. I'm like, no, it needs to be glossy on the quality. And we lucked out because a little inside the industry, what I saw, and I actually saw an email that literally said this. Zombie was telling the distributors, you guys are raping us with this ideology, because this is how it works. This is what I believe. Let's say this gentleman right here, hands in his head in his hands, is the magazine. I'm the distributor. I'm the asshole, basically, and you're the store. I go, can I have issue 1? Thank you, sir. Here's the store. Can I have issue 2? He's floating himself, by the way. He's not being paid. Here's issue 2. Here's issue 3. when I'm about to give you his issue 4, I will pay him for issue 1. So you think if a distributor goes, okay, if you want to be in a Walmart and all these things, you got to have over 50,000 copies. Okay, well, that means by the time you're almost printing your 200,000 copy, you're going to get paid through 1 through 50,000, and you got to float yourself. It's a lot of money. And it's kind of like a musician that doesn't sign with the label. He uses social media to just bet on himself. And I think that's one of the best things to do. And so I just did that, and I did it right from the beginning. Before COVID hit, I made that decision. I don't want a middleman. I just want to send it to the people directly from us, like mom and pop style, which is stuff that we go after. We love that old school mom and pop type of diner stuff. But with us, if you call the numbers, it's my cell phone or Chuck's cell phone. That's it. And so yeah, that's how the system works.
So what you're saying is, if you go to like a big store and you get put in a big store, you have to have 4 issues with like 50,000 copies of each.
At least is spread over the stores.
So 50,000 copies times 4, that's 200,000 copies.
Yeah.
And then you don't get paid until they start selling the 4th copy.
That's what was going on with product
So
culture.
you have to pay for
printing, contributors, daily stuff, and travel.
Wow.
See, the thing is,
But let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Would it be worth it? How much money could you possibly make? Like, you don't know exactly, but how much money would it be worth it if you could get, let's just say you took a loan out for these 200,000 copies.
Yeah.
And you got in, I don't know, whatever big store sells the most of them.
Barnes and Noble and stuff like that.
Barnes and Noble. Are they still around?
See, that's the thing.
Yeah. So let's say you made it, and then when you got to the 4th issue and they paid you for the first 50,000, would it be worth it?
For this magazine, or back in the day when magazines were more around?
No, let's talk about now. How about these magazines?
I don't think so.
It wouldn't be worth it? You don't think so?
Imagine this. Imagine me printing those 200,000 copies, and you can't even go in the brick and mortar to get it.
Well,
That's like
I don't have to
groceries.
imagine it. The whole world just went through it. Yeah.
Well, when I say imagine being in that scenario where luckily people were staying at home, they were buying it because we shipped it directly to their house. Our inventory, people that do our shirts can now send them out too, all together. The shirt and the magazine goes straight to your door. And versus, the thing is, part of our culture is actually going to the store to pick out a magazine, kind of like a trading card. You want to go to a card shop and open the packs there. Well, same thing. They want to pick it up from the store. But it was one of those decisions where I got to do it this way because it's the cheapest, it's the easiest, and there's no middleman. I work well with the team that we have, but I don't want to really answer to anybody in a sense. I'm very thankful that we're all one versus...
Hell yeah, nobody wants to answer to motherfuckers.
Yeah, so I would hate to someone be like, oh, by the way, you got to do this, or hey, you need to have this on the cover because they did an inside ad, so we need to find a car with this wheel on it. But the thing is, the decisions I make...
Then you're going to have 50s cars with like 22-inch rims on there. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, the thing is, and see, that goes back into the discipline and that culture where I'm like, I'm going to stick to my guns. I want to do it like a history book. My goal is to do something so well that maybe even the government goes, this should be like
Americana.
You guys are a part of our like history department of the United States of America, because I'm not just, even though it's mostly meat and potatoes as cars, but there's like the next 2 issues, or like the fall issue, like some car guys will get this, where if you find a rare set of wheels, that's like, oh, this is like, if you had this in the 60s, like you were the shit. Well, if you find these wheels, now you got to build a car that's 60s around this. That's the premise. Well, like in my fall issue, through Christy, maybe she still goes by Jackson, but my buddy Cody Jackson's mom, she always gets cool shit and finds cool stuff. It gets gifted cool shit. Well, basically, she has negatives and some developed photos of the Spruce Goose being built, transported, and put together. That's that giant plane that
She has photos of that?
negatives.
She
and
has
developed.
negatives?
Yes, they're stamped on the back, Hughes Aircraft.
What?
So I'm scanning this, and I show my buddy Andrew Bernstein. He's like, "Where did you find this?" Because he's all like, he shoots for like NBA. He's probably getting-
None,
Yeah. So, and we're supposed to have a meeting because I found like there's slides of like Paul McCartney photos, Elvis, Sinatra,
What?
John Lennon. Oh, she has a bunch of stuff. So anyway, so back to the Hughes, it's like I found 40s Americana. Like who's ever seen this? So now I'm going to do a cover. I have to find a car now that's elegant in 40s because that's the era I think of the plane. And so I found a 36 Ford that was built in 41 or 40, which is very early for customizing. Everything's always like post-war customs and which is great too. But for documentation to show it customized in the early 40s is pretty insane. I'm like, what perfect of a car to put. So that's going to be kind of my fall thing. So it's more than cars. There's just,
man, you put a lot of thought into this stuff and it's good. It's smart.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, again, you talk about putting a fight camp together, a fight plan with the fighter. And it's like, you'll be exposed if you don't. Right.
For sure.
Right. And I'm not saying if you did get finished quickly, that means like you guys didn't train hard.
No, I mean, it happens. It's fighting.
It just shit happens.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're going to fight Khabib and you're like, this guy's going to, stand
Well,
and
he's
bang
going to take me down.
He's going to stand
punch
and bang
me.
with me. You're like, well, have you ever seen any fight? So, so the premise is I'm just on this hunt with the magazine, Speed and Culture. My goal is to take care of American history and put it in a print form. Because like the family, the McPhillips I was just with, they're going crazy. That Mustang hasn't started. They had it running a little bit in the 90s, but it hasn't actually raced since like the late 70s, 80s. So when it fired up and moved on its own power, Dolly, the wife, is like, I heard her over the car, and the car is super loud. I heard her from inside the house scream, happy, run out, and like jumping around like a little kid. And they're like, this brings me back so many memories. I'm going through the photo albums, and they're like a young couple with this cool Mustang drinking. Is it Schlitz?
Schlitz. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. What? And so, and it's just like, this took me back to like our prime. And that's the goal. Just like this jump, the Super. You guys took me back to my youth. And that's what I love to do. And just like if I'm filming a fighter, I want you to see a side of this fighter that if you can relate to him, you want to root for him because he's like, oh, that's my people, right? And that's just my goal to get because every person that you'll interview or you'll meet, pretty much every individual has a piece of gold within them, maybe a couple pieces of gold. There's something really amazing about that. So if you meet great people and you take that word of advice or that outlook, you kind of put the gold in like a little pouch of yourself, and you yourself become a greater person because all the people that you listen to, you learn from. And I just try to be a spin and image with my knowledge of what I'm spreading of those great people. I get to meet. And now on our YouTube stuff, Paper the Pavement, me and Mikey, what I love with filming with Mikey is before the camera's on, during the camera's on, after the camera's on, he is exactly the same person.
Yeah, I hate people that are different when the camera's on.
You've been on shows and then they're doing this, the camera's on, and they have this like character that comes out and you go, oh, like I would hate to be like that. Hopefully I don't do stuff like that. I think the only time I change, I get on camera, my mind gets a traffic jam because our brains are so busy, especially when you're an entrepreneur or you stay up at night thinking of the next move and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's
well, dude, look, you're doing a fantastic job, dude. These things are unbelievable. And I used to collect magazines. I don't anymore, but I used to. And these are fantastic. They look old school. They look like the old magazines. Everything, the shots. Look at these shots. So,
yeah, those are old photos that the original guy, the owner's wife took while Caesar was racing. Debbie would just walk around and take pictures of the coolest cars that she could. She can find.
But it matches absolutely the magazine. Look, you couldn't tell that wasn't like you didn't do that. Yeah. And this one too. This one's a recent one. This isn't an old one, right?
Yeah. I shot that one. That
Yeah, see,
can.
and it's the same. Man, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Speed and culture.
Yeah. But
Okay, and so you got into old cars with your dad was into old cars and in Bakersfield.
Bakersfield.
and you started from there. And then the photography, you went because the artists are assholes. I know. When I do martial artists, one of those are assholes too. But anyways, yeah. So, and then it all unfolded into this awesome magazine.
This journey, man. And
then you guys have a YouTube now? What do you do on the YouTube?
So Rod and Style will have anything that's related pretty much with the magazine. We wanted to have like a one-stop shop with our car stuff when it came to like speed and culture. Paper the Pavement is a project that me and Mikey Brown have where we'll just be showing like, builds and really showing off his awesome life. He's just born on a, gravel road. And he would be a great interview, his upbringing, because he has every reason to not be a good person from his upbringing, but he's fucking awesome. He's a gentle giant.
Builds cars.
And he's always in overalls.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Overhauls.
Yeah, overhauls. and so you think about these platforms that you have now and what I have as well. It's that purpose of what can we do with that dash of if you were born this year and you died this year, what did you do in that dash? Well, we're preserving stuff. I want someone to see this and be inspired to care about their own family history, or if they know somebody that's like, oh, that guy used to build cars, or like, oh, that guy served in the military. Like, yeah, like let us tell the people about this guy. And the same thing goes for if I'm filming a fighter. I want you to see a side of them that maybe you didn't get to see because of maybe, like, I don't want to ask the typical questions like, why are you a fighter? Or like does it hurt? Or like, I've been very fortunate to be in homes of these fighters or veterans, whatever it is. I'm like, how do I make myself stand out? What information can I get that makes them seem more of like the human that they are, and not just some identity like, okay, that guy's only a fighter. Well, he's also a father.
or his TV persona.
Yes, yeah.
Or how they make him out to be, because Nick and Nate Diaz are super nice guys, like crazy nice, and they make them out to be bad guys.
Like it's the whole Stockton like trying to make him feel like thuggish thing.
Look, they're good fighters, and I think they don't have to like. They have to. Sorry, I think they have to not like their opponent. But they're super nice guys, dude. Nick busted out of a crowd of people that he was talking to and doing autographs for, to come shake my hand one time. And I was like,
you didn't have to do
in
that,
the MGM. I was like, dude, those people are waiting on you. And he was like, I wanted to say hi. I was like, all right, cool. He was like, fuck those people.
I don't know why.
Like, all right, that's cool. The TV persona is different,
That kind of remind me, because I think the most nervous when I'm doing anything during like fight week filming, because people are cutting weight
and tension's high, dude.
Everybody wants a piece of them. I remember one time I did an interview with Danny Cormier, and I was so tired because on a Tuesday morning,
man, that dude ain't got to cut weight.
But no, just still that whole week.
Didn't he fight at 205?
Well, yeah, 205.
And that's different.
Yeah, it was different. It was John Jones week.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's
John
different.
In Anaheim, and so some of my funniest moments came when I'm like absolutely kind of like this, just tired, been on the road, and I don't even like remember it, but it happened because I look at my memory card and I see the photos. I'm like, oh shit, someone actually allowed me to interview that guy when I was half awake. So I shoot in New Jersey on a Tuesday morning. I fly to Kansas City. On my layover, I get picked up in this awesome Econoline that was one of the covers of Rod and Culture. He drove me into the city of Kansas City, shot this bike. My hometown buddy lived there, took me back to the airport. I didn't even get my bags. That's how quick I did it. I just took my camera bag, my check on, flew to Anaheim, stayed at John Barnes' house. He owns a Zephyr that I shot the Shevchenko sisters with. The next morning, I shoot with DC, and I'm like so tired. And then he's running late because everybody wants to interview him. And I'm like, why would he want to talk with me right now? And because I'm like this. Super asleep. So I get him mic'd up. I remember at the very end of my interview, I'm about to fall asleep, not because it's not entertaining, because I'm just like absolutely tired. And I go, DC, close your eyes. And he closes his eyes. I'm like, what's the first? This is so embarrassing to say. You do cringy things. It's funny to laugh out now, but at the time I'd be like, you're an idiot. I was like, close your eyes. You tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind. And he goes, domination. And I'm like, let's wrap it up. Well, because I was about to fall asleep. He probably would have woken up and be like, I'd be like there.
You'd be sleeping.
And it's funny.
You didn't even hear the domination, motherfucker.
But it's funny because before me and Mikey were close as we are now, he was always into fighting. And he's like, oh, this guy's about to shoot my truck and dragster. He's into fighting too. And he saw that interview and going like, oh my God, Trent's boy is about to get destroyed by John Jones. That's what but no, it's,
That's all right. They were good fights, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
even better because they hated each other. But yeah,
and that's what you have to respect that, because even if you film someone, you kind of want them to win because you kind of get this little biasness, right? But the main thing is,
and I know his coach too.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway.
I think what people should realize though, that we gotta love both the guys in a sense, because if you only see the antics of what's on camera and the fight itself, but to see what these guys go through, or women, and as well, to put their families through, themselves through, and sometimes fight falls through, and like just anyone that goes past those gates and to get shut,
it's not easy. People think it's easy. That's half of the problem. Is a lot of people think that this shit is easy.
Well, I found out. Well, I've always been pretty decently humble, but it was so funny. The first time I came up and trained, and I just did a class. I wasn't even train. I disrespect this, call it train. I did a class with you, and it was so funny because the 24 hours before, I'm like, I'm going to come up, and I had all my shorts and stuff, and this is so embarrassing, but it's funny. Hopefully people laugh this. I was like, fight camp, bro. Like
I'm training one time, fight camp, bro.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I'm almost Bangkok ready, and so I'm like eating super healthy for like 12 hours before. I remember I get off of work early, drive 2.5 hours, 3 hours to Oklahoma City, and it's just like every normal person,
That's when I was teaching at Lovatos. Yeah.
And I remember how worn out I was, and being like, if this was a real fight, I would be destroyed.
Yeah, people don't realize that.
Because when we're sitting up, like me with my gut out, eating some steak and Cheeto fingers, and it's the third round, and you have a bet the guy will finish the fight, and you're like, come on, fucking pussy. That's how the typical fight fan is now. But you're in the comfort of your home with a full belly in a nice environment. You go get a pizza like 2 stairs up, and you feel that fire in your lungs. Well, that guy's been doing that for almost 15 minutes, 25 minutes, and you're mad at him.
More than that. Yeah, way more.
More than that. Yeah. And you're mad that he can't finish the fight. You're like, trust me. Like, I remember one time you kicked me in the chest as playing.
I never.
Allegedly. Yeah. They're like, why did Beecher kick that small child? And so I remember one time you're showing me something, and you like softly kicked my chest, and you're like, that's like 5%. Imagine these killers are doing it 100%. And you're worried, like, why is that guy like pushing forward? Because you got kicked in the leg, you got kicked in the chest. Like, yeah. I remember one time I did like with Marion during my 27th birthday, I got 27 leg kicks by
no, I'm out. I'm not taking that.
Doug Marshall,
the Rhino.
Yeah. Her and then one of the students, and they were doing it soft. But I made the mistake thinking like, well, if I stiffen up, they're thinking like I'm trying to like, prevent it more. So I stayed like loose.
No.
Well, the thing is, my reverse psychology. You
reverse triangle fucked yourself.
Exactly. So I'm sitting there soft and going like, oh, that sucks. And that sucks. And that sucks. And they're doing it super soft, but my little bird legs, I think you even call me Peaches, because like the first time I went up.
Oh, you bruised like a peach.
Oh, yeah, Peaches. Well, I didn't have your mark, hyena, shin guard and gloves. I had like adult size, which is way too big for me, because it was like this. And every time I got kicked by someone, it was like, ka-ka-ka. I got like kicked and slapped by the shin guard, and I was just like, bruise up to the gills, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? You did it though.
Oh yeah, it was. But
All right, so let me start my questions. What is your favorite photo shoot? What is your favorite photo that you've ever taken? Look, I have your website up there.
You should sell my Instagram.
We have a TrentSherrill.com website up there. He has a bunch of dope cars, nice shots too. What's the favorite photo you've ever taken?
Well, if I had to pick my favorite photo shoot, that I got to take out the bias stuff. Obviously, my fiance Kayla, that Superbird, that was very important to me because it was my first Superbird shoot. Plus, it was with her, and those were like family memories. Right. But I would say the one shoot that like means the most because of how many of those butterfly effects had to happen was probably the Shevchenko sisters, because of who it helps of who they are, but they're awesome. And as a Pavel, their coach, because of the accumulation from meeting you and what Scratch helped me out with, all the cars, Fighting World, and the clothing, the stylist, those were like all the connections I've been very thankful to have to come into one
and
shoot.
Came together with fighting and the old cars and everything. That's dope.
And that's one of the things that will forever, like, no one can take that away from me. And that's what I like to do with this when I tell someone when they're in print, no one can take away this cover shoot for you. No one can take away the centerfold Amada was in. That was a big one. So I think that's one of the ones that mean the most to me as a photo shoot wise, as accumulation of everything, because so many things had to come together. And I don't know if it's still their agent or the manager. I don't know. He was really happy because they were going to do it for free because they just wanted to do it. I met him at the Fighters Retreat, and she was like, I want to do photo these 50s, 60s, 70s, type of shoots. And I'm like, I'm the guy.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. But that was one of my favorites just because it's like the jumbo. It's the buffet of everything I've done. And that's all
cool.
My passions.
Where can we see those photos?
So besides, my Instagram, Trent Sherrill Photography, my second one, my original one got taken down because I retweeted UFC stuff that I was in. I don't understand how, but yeah, my original account got taken down.
Well, Elon Musk owns some of Twitter now.
So
a major portion of Twitter. So I tested it out 2 days ago and
they accepted his bid.
No, he bought it before. They didn't accept. He bid to buy the whole thing.
Oh, I understand.
And they said no. But he has so much ownership of it. I put some anti-COVID stuff on there. I'm not going to say it because they'll take my podcast down.
Right.
And it's still up.
Good.
Which is crazy because they deleted it off of every other platform, including YouTube. I had a podcast with a doctor that they deleted.
It wasn't.
His name is Robert Yoho.
Okay. Jake,
so I put it up on a different platform. And I'll tell you after the show. I put it on a different platform. You can still watch it, but they deleted it. But anyways, so where can we see those photos?
So I see. Valentina was a centerfold of Rod. See, that was a previous magazine. I did that for the centerfold. It was cool. I got to be on UFC Embedded, showing her the magazine when she fought Amanda Nunes in Canada. There was a second fight, which I think she won. But anyway, and that one was in Rod and Culture. Antonina's shoot, because I shot both, is in issue 2 of Speed and Culture. And then I would say I'll have to talk to her.
All right, how can we get issue 2 of Speed and Culture?
This speedandculture.com.
Yeah.
I think we still have some back issues, but I'll probably talk to Valentina to see if I can reuse that in this platform.
Nice.
It's just one of those respect things. I just don't want to use it because I have it and she, finds out. It's just, again, one of those respect things. Be like,
I'm sure she would be down with it. Free advertisement. Let's go.
Yeah. So that's probably like.
And did she like the photos?
Oh yeah, well yeah. Luckily,
then why not?
Yeah,
use them some more.
Yeah, but
okay,
go ahead.
One more. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next thing is this. What would you like to accomplish with all this?
My goal with this is to turn into something bigger, to where hopefully we make enough funds to do like grants for less privileged kids to maybe learn about welding, CAD files. I believe you had, was it Jake the engineer on here?
Yep.
You know what I mean? You talk about the toys that help kids like get into, learn, go that direction. Yes. So my thing is like, you know what? Guys that can weld and do stuff with their hands will probably be paid as much as some high technical job or technology jobs now, because the trades are going away. So
and that's a big problem, because what's happening now is there's no tradesmen anymore. So everyone wants to work off of a computer and sit in front of a computer all day,
or go viral from an 8-second video and be famous.
Right. And who's going to weld my bag racks? Well, I welded my bag racks. I had a guy help me, but I welded my bag racks. Mm-hmm. But where's the welder that's going to do that? Where's the guy that's going to build this and build that? And you know what's going to happen? You're going to have nothing to work from soon, So, yeah, that's great. So your goal is to make it big enough to where you could have a fund for a grant to grant kids.
Yeah. I think like most people, that when you ask that question, when you're happy with yourself and your life, it's very easy to try to pass that on, because you want other people to feel good as you do, and valued as you do, and important as you do. And so that's my goal, man. Like I want people to see this and to be like, what you're technically buying is, I'm not doing this to see my name in print. I'm doing it so I can get those emails or calls to be like, thank you so much for taking the time and thinking our history is worth your time. I'm like, you are exactly what I look for. You are exactly, it's just, I understand that sometimes that, like maybe like a fighter going, oh, I don't fight in this organization, so like I'm not as good. Well, that's not true. Like you just haven't got the opportunity. But I want to show that fighter or that car or, that veteran story, and like it is all important.
Well, look, I've been looking and collecting these magazines I'm way older than you, shut up. So a long time.
Yeah.
But these are like the old school ones. They're all like the old school ones. The way it's laid out, the photos themselves, everything, man. You guys need to get a copy. If you guys like old school rides, let's go. Get a copy of these.
Look at
and
this.
Check these out. And these are going into my gym too.
Like that.
Oh, centerfold. What's her name? Never mind.
But anyway, you think about like just the people I meet. Like
yeah.
Brian Newman, awesome trumpet player, plays with Tony Bennett, Lady Gaga, and it's like,
whoa,
dude, like that's Jared Bellot. Like he built that Corvette, that custom front end, and
that's the one that was on the cover. Huh?
He's in the Cajun Music Hall of Fame. Like
really,
like all the depths of people like we get to meet. I'm just so thankful, man. I think of guys like Alan Lomax from back in the long time ago. They would go around and preserve music, and I'll give like a little thing to the viewers, that hopefully if anybody's still listening on this one with me, but there's stuff like documentaries like American Epic, and to preserve history like that and tell that story, I'm like, man, I wish I was on that movie or that documentary to help do stuff for like 30 for 30. So this is my 30
you're
for 30.
well on your way, bro.
Yeah.
Because this shit's awesome. Hey, what are you going to do to my 65 Cadillac? Let me get paint first.
Yeah, well, I can give you some real shops to go to.
No, now we're after the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I know I kind of babbled, but it's just one of those things that we haven't talked in a long time in person, and me and you have been through our own things so much, and over the last decade, it's like, hopefully you'll have my back, but there's so much we can talk about.
Always.
The premise is I appreciate you giving me this platform. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you taking a chance on me, some young kid that you brought me in such a cool world with the cars, the connections with the fighting stuff. You brought me relations with, Matt Brown, the greatest people I've got to, be around. And it's like,
bro, whenever I was on TV, I was on TV a lot back in those days. When I had a bunch of guys in the UFC, people would act like that, and man, if you're a cool dude, we're friends, man. You know what I mean? We're friends, whatever. And really at that time for me, it was normal, and it's still normal, Hey man, he's a cool dude. Come on over. And, but you're this guy on TV, but everybody thinks that those people are different. Like, Like, I think it's because the rich people are dicks. A lot, not all of them, but you know what I mean? They just treat you like you're not as high up in status as them. So, man, I'm not like that, dude. We're not like that. And I haven't really met very many fighters that are like that either. Most fighters are like, so what? I'm on TV. Let's go. We're hanging out. You know?
Most like chillest people ever. I think because they get to have that release in the gym or in the fights. It's like well, they don't have anything to prove. Like, well, they're not going to have. They shouldn't. Well, most of the time they don't have this like persona of like I gotta look like a badass. Yeah. No, they already know.
We always like preempt it. We're like, well, fighters aren't. Well, most of the time, you know why? Because we all know that fucking asshole. There's always one.
Yeah, there's always one. Like, well, you know.
But mostly all in all, that's how it is. You know. And yeah, you're a cool dude, and I've known you for a long time now.
Yeah. So
hell yeah.
Well, like I said, man, I appreciate everything, and I hope that people just check out what me and the team, you know, do. Just speedandculture.com, and
these are dope.
It's $40 a year for subscription, which is
$40 for a whole year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
4 times a year.
Oh yeah.
And actually, we used to be only $30, but with the ink and paper. You know, you're the guy, was it
Joe Biden that raised the prices of everything?
No, the gentleman with the book with like the plants and stuff, Mark, or is it Mark? They got the Mohawk.
Yeah, Mark.
So he talked about because of supply his
Borderbruggen. Mark Borderbruggen. I think I said it right.
No, I thought it was like
he's a cool guy.
I thought it was actually almost
Merriweather.
Like Merriweather. It's like an Irish thing.
That's his nickname, Merriweather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was awesome too.
He talked about like, you know, his book was supposed to come out this, but supply and stuff. Oh yeah, like we're like the paper that we use is really high quality, and we're going through some stuff right now where they go like, well, if you want your paper, it only comes in sheets like this, but I only need sheets like this. Well, that means you have to pay triple the price because we're only going to sell it like this. We're not going to cut it.
And that's bullshit.
Oh, dude, because the paper mills, because they couldn't be they weren't set up to have 6 feet apart. They're supposed to be working shoulder to shoulder, and things are backed up. And it's like, I do all of this, and you can do everything, your ducks in a row, and still with the climate of today, with everything, you could be late, or the post office don't ship it right because they don't care about what's in that package. So, but yeah, it's, we're going to keep on keeping on, man. I lived a life where, there's moments that God can't believe I got here. I'd love to tell you one more, but if we have to wrap it up, I'll wrap it up. But basically, go ahead.
Okay, come on.
I want to say this. There was a moment I was shooting in Australia, and I was with the car guy. We just drove his 32 Ford from Castlemaine, Victoria to Nowra, or Nara, how he maybe say it. But we're sitting at this beach, and we went to this one part. There was this me and him, and I'm looking at my feet in this water that looked like blue Kool-Aid. It was so beautiful, and I'm sitting in this sand that's like white as salt. And it took me back to a time that I remember, you know, in our trailer, I think our water only came in, but the extra water just fell below the trailer and just made basically like big like water puddle underneath, if I remember right. And there's holes in the wall so I can see it happening too by our shower. I'm like, how did a kid that from a trailer shower, looking at his feet, looking at the mud, if you go like this, look past the wall, go from there to I'm in a foreign country looking in a beach with getting this Kool-Aid type water brushing on that same pair of feet. How did I get there to there? And I was just start crying. My buddy's like, oh, you know, you're all right, mate, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I can't believe I'm here, man. I'm not supposed to be here, but you know what? I deserve to be here.
You are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You are supposed to be there, and that's why you were there.
Yeah.
You are. You pushed through all this shit, and you're doing what you want to do, and you're not sitting in an office pushing papers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I sit behind a desk sometimes to design it, but luckily it's a good atmosphere.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you're designing shit that you want, not pushing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Okay, so I think I already got some of this answer out, but what do you hate about this business that you're in?
One of the main things I think I hate is, that's a very strong word. I think what it is I have to take the flack of what other magazines have done, but not what I've done. So Like,
Interesting.
okay, when we first came out in 2020, we only had one magazine, and obviously we have it flipped, so it looks like we have issues 1 and 2. And I'd have people come out to be like, print magazine, good luck. And I'm like, dude, if you're at a car show,
for sure,
wouldn't you want me to survive? I'm the same with even other magazines. Like, we don't have a big enough culture to be, is it divisive or dividing? We just have a dividing type of mentality. Yeah. We got to stick together. I'm like, I want other prints to succeed because I can't get to every car. I don't run every type of car. You are like, if I'm only doing like military, well, if I'm only doing Army, well, who's going to do the Marines, or who's going to do the Air Force, or back in the day, Army Air Corps, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's like, I hate how we would catch flack of like, oh, you guys are going to go away because I got screwed over by this. I'm like, did you know I'm the only company or magazine that honors subscriptions like we did in full? We gave out thousands of free magazines in the first several issues because we honored Raw and Culture subscriptions, because I didn't want Zombie to have a witch hunt. Like, where's my magazines? Where's my money? And we covered them, you know? And we did that. We're average Joes. We're not big wigs. We're not rolling in the dough. And I think I've always hated the perception of someone being screwed because they got screwed over by somebody else. And if you want something to stay around, you got to invest into it. Like, you got to keep the doll in the community.
Yeah, I understand that. You get a bad name because of someone else. That's bullshit.
Yes.
But you know what else you said in that statement is mostly, I get this too, is, oh, a print magazine, good luck. That stuck with me because this fucking guy is supposed to be in your culture, supposed to be supporting all the stuff in
my
there,
corner,
and they don't support it. And that's a huge problem with every culture, everything, fighting, everything, whatever, economics, whatever, everything is you're hating on that instead of supporting it. When I first moved here to Houston, another gym, Corley's gym, was having fights, and I was teaching at a different gym, and Corley's gym was a mile from ours. I go, all of our people are going to go and box at his gym, and all of our guys are going to go and pay to get in. And people were like, what? I'm like, because that's our scene. We support them. They support us. We all support each other. We don't fight with each other. It just makes us smaller. And that's a big thing, I think.
So when I got to come back this year in 2022, and we had 9 magazines printed, so we had 18 different covers showing. Not like the only negativity fueled me, but I was like, I really hope that guy comes by again, and to be like, shit, they're still around. They're still going for it. And all that is only possible. I have to give a shout out to Nick Hosmer, Eric Justice, Chuck Stanfield, also my the reason why we're even veteran owned and even here to me because of people like Chuck.
The reason we're all here is because of veterans.
That's right. If you don't love it, leave it.
I'll
fucking help you back right now. So, again, Chris Day, Lou Leto, Lou Stans, and everybody that's ever shot and helped. We have a group of people that just truly care. And you think of like, for the fight fans, what's the gentleman that has awesome videos to get like really cool behind the scenes? Is it why am I bringing that up? I should have said it with the name. But there's certain platforms, people get great footage, and we get to see some of the best moments of these fighters, the behind the scenes of showing that they're real people. They get upset with themselves, they cry, they get excited for things, and it makes them more humane. But again, sorry, away from that is, yeah. So it's just, yeah, man. I just hope people can check it out, and I think I'll save some more for another time.
Everyone should support. Man, everybody should support people that with things that you're interested in.
I got a question
I'm interested in old cars. Then you support everyone as much as you can that supports that culture. Like
I got a question
speed
for
and
you.
culture. Okay, go.
So when you talk about going through let's call it the medical situation, because I don't know what terms can get you taken down during the big medical vacation we all had to have with their businesses, right?
Yeah.
So there's something that helped fuel me is actually was told to me years ago when someone goes, what do you do for a living though? And I go, well, I'm self-employed. And they go, oh, that means you're unemployed. And that always made me think like that was a again, sorry, it sucks to think like something
But
negative
that
fuels you.
says a lot about that person.
Yeah.
Because that person, whenever he's self-employed, he's unemployed. I'm self-employed. I own a gym.
Yes.
I'm not unemployed, you know? Yeah. So that says something about that person. And remember, the person who did that too, oh, good luck. That says a lot about that guy.
They're insecure
because
about
he
something.
tried shit and it didn't work for him.
I remember something.
How about
too.
that?
And what you kind of just said, you asked this question, like what phrases you hate, or I think when
But that's coming.
Okay,
you've been listening to my podcast. I like that though. At least you know what's
I'm
coming.
that second like on that.
Okay, so what in life do you love besides your fiance?
I love cinnamon Skittles.
Oh, come
No, I don't think that's a real thing. No, honestly, what I
Ooh,
love.
that sounds good though.
Maybe
I'm hungry. Anyway, so wait, what?
I love life. I like I just love life because of other people. How do I say this? This sounds stupid. I love opportunity. I love when I'm given opportunity and a chance to do something. From if a veteran open up to me or some way, somehow I'm like, sitting in the sauna with like Matt Brown or this guy or Stipe or something. I'm like, how did I find myself right here?
I don't want to sit in a sauna with Matt Brown ever again. I don't even know Stipe, but it didn't him either. Fuck that.
I remember.
I'm just kidding. I understand.
I remember Matt looked at me because I'm so like soft and not in shape. He goes, "You don't do this much." I'm like,
no.
I'm sitting there in my box, my little baby gut. And then all these guys, I was at Muscle at the time. Everybody's just like yoked, and I'm just like this little like frail deer, like what I mean. I'm like, I'm with the boys.
I helped start that team out there, that team elevation back in the day. That's this whole story I don't want to get into though.
So what I love is opportunity, and I love being able to have a chance, and I would say what I hate, is the phrase, it must be nice. The reason why I bring that up is...
Yeah, because it's nice now, but I fucking worked for it.
You're only seeing me cross the finish line of that topic.
Yeah.
If someone walks in here and they wanted to do what you did, it's kind of like that same guy, oh, good luck, or it must be nice. I'm like, hey, would you sleep in your car? And let's say if you have $15 left and you go, okay, I'll put... all 15 in my tank so I can get to my next photo shoot. So maybe the guy gives me a tip, or, lets me stay at his house or buys me a food. Cause I've done that, man. I've slept in my vehicle when it's teen outside or 20s outside, or I've slept in airports, or there's so many things, first world problems in a sense, but still it's the stuff that's grinding. Well, so when people see me have a magazine with the team, or when I get to meet a certain individual, film a certain individual, oh, it must be nice to do this. I'm like, but I earned this, though. Yeah. I went through
but people don't see all that. They don't see that. Like that's why, for example, Facebook is depressing.
Yes.
Well, first of all, the algorithm shows you stuff that you argue with. So it shows you stuff that you don't like because it creates engagement.
Yes.
And then second of all, the one of the best things is Facebook is a highlight of your life. It's not all the bad shit that happens to you. It's the highlight of my day. I'm going to put it on this or Instagram or whatever, all social media. They're not going to put the low parts of their day. Man, I had a shit day. I cut my leg. Look, check this out. You know what I mean? They put all the highlights. I had to sleep in my car. You're not going to put that. You're going to put, check out this photo shoot I did because I slept in my fucking car and I did all this to get this photo shoot.
I think because people won't put that out there because they don't want people to think that they're struggling or not being successful, right? Isn't it weird that people have to have this persona like they're always on the way up?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's like a stock market. So it's like up and down and up and down, but that's what makes things. I think that's maybe like why some religions. I'm not religious, but I think isn't it like Ramadan? Is that where you don't eat and stuff?
Ramadan. That's happening right now. Actually.
So. Do they do that so it's like they understand what it feels like to be hungry to relate, or is that just part of a religious thing?
You know what? I'm going to ask some of my students. I can ask Rami.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about that religion, but I'll ask them.
Because I look at something like that as they understand that feeling of hunger, or whatever task that they're doing that they're eliminating from their daily schedule. And you can understand what it takes to go from hungry to full. And
Yeah, I understand not because of religion.
yeah, well,
I understand because I've
like,
fucking been there. Yeah.
Again, when you have hope for dinner, you're having, or you have sleep for dinner.
Yeah.
But no, I would say, yeah, man, I would say some of the best things that I've ever been able to accomplish started with just grinding moments of, there's been that fork in the road where I have every reason of today's era to quit because it's too hard. But I kept on, I keep on keeping on, and it's some of the best things I've ever done, and I think will do, come from just, just rolling with the punches instead of just taking it and sitting down. And I hope, kind of like John and Tiffany were talking about that, he said when he talked about, I think it was like depression or suicide, that he hopes that people that have that mathematic equation that is telling them like it's quitting time, something, I'm paraphrasing, so sorry, Johnny or John, but it's like, I think about that. And it's like, I hope one person I reach out to document or to come help me on a photo shoot, maybe that sways them to become something greater than they already are. So I just,
all right, I'm going to blow your mind right now. You probably already have done that.
yeah, I know. I don't want to bring that up. Be like, let me tell you people.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I get probably an email a month or of someone that I changed their life, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And you don't realize the positive effect you have on people when you do positive things.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to try to realize it. I'm here just to do what I do. And I'm helping people is a big thing. It's good.
Yeah, I think, that makes me happy that I feel like a lot of people have been bringing that up more with these podcasts. A lot of it ends with they just want to do positive things and help people. And why not? Like what?
Yeah, why not? Why not help people? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there, man. We'll get there. We'll get to a point where we can get grants and.
Yeah, I mean, just keep building and keep working. And if you're doing something you love while you're doing that, even better, way better.
Yeah.
Okay, so what in life do you hate?
Hate about the industry or just hate in life?
Life. That's my dog he's messing with. I got a little dog. He's a little terror.
I know, I love dogs.
He's a crazy. But anyways.
He's chewing on it's unfortunate because he realized I have like no meat on my bones. On my fingers. It's like, someone already got to him.
Is that a chicken bone?
That's why I don't think a bear would get me. They're like, oh, someone already got to him. But anyway.
What in life do you hate?
I think, would it be like a general thing of hate or something like I hate that?
Something in life that you're like.
I think I hate assumptions.
Okay.
That's always been my big thing. Assumptions about people's wealth, of who they are because of what they look like.
Like, kind of like, must be nice.
Yeah, it's like a must be nice.
That's a fucking assumption too.
Yeah, yes, it is. But I think that's what I hate the most. I think what I hate the most is when people choose to put down someone that's going for it because they're too scared to do it themselves.
Boom.
This help people, man. Just support people, because I've always enjoyed thinking if I filmed a fighter or did a free photo shoot for somebody before they're big, they'll remember me because they're like, that guy gave me the time of day when I was no one. Just like yourself, you guys let me photograph your car when I didn't have a portfolio to show you. But now, here's like a nice little phrase. It's like, I chose to have quality over quantity.
Yeah.
So over time, I built quantity of quality.
Quantity of quality. Ooh.
So, you know what I mean? I just reversed that. And I'm very thankful now that no one can take this away from the car owners and me. We did it. And, all the great fight stuff that, your career, not statistics, but your accolades, like your accomplishments. Let's just say your accomplishments is no one can take away those great memories with Kevin, or if it was a Schilling or whoever you're in the corner for or was help training for. It's like no one can take that away from you guys, and it's documented. It's part of history, you know.
Yeah, I like that.
So
yeah, I don't like those people who are like that too. But most of the time is because they haven't done shit. That's why. It is. Most of the time, it's like, oh, I could do that, but I ain't gonna do it because you don't do shit. That's why.
In your industry, is there something like in our car world? If you see it on a main television show, they think like that's exactly how it is, and you're sitting over here going like, that's not really how all of it is. There's more layers to this onion. You know what I mean?
I mean, people think that everybody in the UFC has money like Conor McGregor.
Yes,
and that it's not true. It's like there's people that fight for $2,000 in the UFC, to $5,000. Like $5,000 in that show. You're doing that for $5,000. I was like, dude, I fought in front of 300,000 people for $50, and they were like, what? Yeah, $50. So yeah, it's in every world.
And they'd be like, they think of like the bill companies go, hey, since I saw you on television, that ledger bill, Audi.
Yeah,
IRS. Hey, you never have to pay taxes.
I made no money when I was on TV.
Yeah, like since you won that main event on a UFC fight night, taxes are out of the picture.
So I explain fighters like rock bands. How many rock bands are there? Let's just say just in Houston.
Who knows?
Okay, how many of them make a whole lot of money? A couple, maybe, that have made it. Right. It's the same with fighters. There's millions of fighters, but there's the top level guys. They do make money, but once you get down lower, you're playing in bars. You know what I mean? And that's, you're doing what you love, though. If you're doing what you love and you make enough to make it, then you keep doing what you love.
Yeah.
And that's it. Okay, so what's your favorite saying? If I talk to Scratch and all these people, they're like, this dude always says this.
Well, yes, like Matt, he'd probably say it's hard being hard.
yeah.
But what is my favorite? I don't see, man. This is a bad question for me because my mind. Because like I said, when I walked in before recording, I'm like, hey, I've already done this podcast 3 times in my head. It was pretty good already. But now we're recording. It's like it's a traffic jam of all these thoughts. But what is my? Maybe, I don't want to say 2 birds, 1 stone because that's so that entrepreneur like I'll do this because 2 birds, 1 stone because I'll fly here and I'll do this. But
it's hard being hard. I remember you saying that years ago.
Yeah,
dude.
hey. That's
what
I wanted to start a podcast, but I feel like it'd be like a bunch of old dudes trying to find out how to get hard or something like that. Like your Viagra, that'd be my only sponsorship, Viagra and Roman or whatever those companies are. People would probably read it's hard getting hard. I'm like, no, it's hard being. I'm like,
yeah.
But
I'm telling you, that's it. That's
okay,
the one. For how many years I heard you say that? Yeah, it's got to be the
hard.
one.
Well, I think I would always say that because I'd go to certain like the East Coast and those people have to be hard because the weather in the city and they meet me and like, well, you know how it is. Like you're out in the country road, you pass by somebody, you throw up little 2 fingers or 1 finger, like, hey.
Yeah.
If you do that in New York City, they're like want to flip at you, like this is fucking
you
guy's problem. Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah.
I'm like, where you want to go? We'll go. You want to go somewhere? But no, I guess maybe. Hard being hard is one of my funniest ones.
All right, so look, you, and I keep telling you this, but you followed your dream and you're doing it.
Yeah.
But what would you do if you didn't do this? What profession would you do?
It's here. That moment I've heard 3 times on your podcast.
You already thought it out. That's bullshit. You're not supposed to think it out. Okay,
no, I obviously I heard it, but it's not like it's typed out somewhere. But I really think I would be maybe like a history teacher that would also do counseling.
Okay, so now that is hypothetically speaking, but let's talk reality speaking. So let's say you had nothing and you had to go get a job. What would you do?
Sell baseball cards. I can be your.
You sell baseball cards? Hey, I have
UFC cards.
I have a Pete Rose when he was a left fielder. Is that worth anything?
Was it like one of his Reds ones?
Before he was on first base.
was it like the 70s card? Probably.
Yeah.
They're in their whole, what's it?
Is that
like
worth
Big Red
anything?
Machine thing. I can check it out.
Yeah.
I can definitely check it out.
Gonna make some money off this podcast one day or another.
But man, well, if I had nothing, because I guess I can't say sports cards because
But you would want to be like a teacher and a history teacher and things like that.
absolutely, because there's a little pieces of that formula within this, because I think that I got formed by the people I've met into a person that can maybe relate, because maybe I can go someone that is a certain race or came from like a certain wealth background. I can, I don't have drug history, so I wouldn't be good like on a rehab or something. But I think I can get into the soul of people and let them relate to me, and I could maybe help them and be more positive in life. And I can show them like, okay, I went through this and this happened. You tell me something that you went through, and then see what's the next move maybe. And I think I would come off in a way, luckily, because I don't have a religion or some kind of a political view. I don't have any bias approach or a certain poster I just insert like a psalm or not psalms, a verse or a piece of scripture like a go-to. I would just say something that I've heard on the street or I've lived through in life, and I would share that information that hopefully helps someone. So I would have to say that answer has to be like a counselor or some kind of not really a teacher, but I'd say a counselor.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. And I like that too, because I hate when people try to push their religion on me. Well, you have to believe in this or you'll never be able to quit drinking. No, you don't. You just have to quit drinking. Like, you have to believe in real stories, real people, and people that don't lie to you about stuff. Yeah, for sure.
This is our now is what I just try to focus on, either higher power or not, or there's 1,000 galaxies, whatever there is. But all that matters to me, it's what can I do for this planet? What can I do for the people around me in our American history?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think when you brought up that
you're doing it. You're doing it right here. This is part of American history right here. Big part of it.
The next time we meet, I got to tell you this story about how I used several podcasts to deal with someone that was probably the most extreme individual. I can tell it probably in 2 minutes. I don't know if you want.
Bro, you met the one that was the extreme one in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know.
It was horrible, bro.
I met a gentleman. Let me see. How long is this? I don't want to go too long. I can save it if you want. It's probably like a 3-minute story. But
all right.
You want me to say it? I can.
Yeah, go.
Okay. So when there's a gentleman that went on Rogan's podcast, he was a black gentleman that he was the one that was like a musician that got guys to lead the Klan, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I remember listening to this podcast in like 2 weeks. I'm trying to think if I can't. Okay, I won't say names. So I photographed an individual that. How do I say that? I wonder how much politically correct. Okay. So let's say he was part of a secret society that thought a certain way about a certain race of people.
We already know. Okay, girl. You could have just fucking said it.
I know. I'm just like, I basically.
So he was a dumbass that wore a fucking hood.
Yeah. So something like that. So I met this guy, and I'm on the way, and before I'm going to shoot with this guy, another car owner that knows this guy goes, "Hey, are you anything but white?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't bring that up." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "This guy is very stuck in his ways." I'm like, "Okay." Like, I'm just talking about cars.
So he's a fucking racist, is what you're saying.
Racist.
Yeah, all right.
And so I was like, okay, like I'm like strike one for me. And it was weird because we came into the situation where he calls me and he goes, "How did your shoot with I don't want to say
this guy.
Yeah. How did your shoot with this guy go?" And I go, "Man, it went great." He's like, "I had a feeling." He's like, you two, both young guys, and you like this history and you like it." Gives me another call a couple days later before our shoot, and he goes, "Hey, I want to tell you something. You had something that made my brother cry." And I'm like, "What did I do now?" Like, he goes, "You did some stories on Korean War vets, and he's a vet as well. And so I think me and you are going to get along." I'm like, okay, there's a little positive tally for me. And so the day of our shoot, I'm heading up and I stop at this name he sings. It's a rainy night in Georgia. I can't believe it. He's awesome. But anyway, I stop at his grave because I found I was gonna pass it. Well, it's a black artist, and he calls me, and I know all this information about this guy. And he goes, "Hey, bud, what time are you gonna be here? Where are you at?" And I didn't want to tell him. I was too scared to be like, "What if I tell him?" And he's gonna be, "You're a, you know what, lover," and all this thing, and have all this. Yeah. So I get to his house, I find it, and it's like, you can tell it's his because he has these 2 giant Confederate like flags hanging. And he has a sign. He has a sign that goes, "Wake up, white man, wake up, white man." And I'm pulling into the driveway going, I'm staying here tonight. Like a movie.
What?
Well, just like this, I'm so like, I've been driving like crazy. I feel like all this is a dream inside of a real recording. By pulling this thing, I'm like, you know what? I got to think of that guy that was on Rogan. You have to find a way for them to respect you. You have to listen to them, understand why they think that way. And then when they respect you for listening, you can say something that doesn't match them because it's my turn to talk kind of thing. It's my turn to tell you my thoughts about what you just told me. So my whole game plan this whole week is I got to show this guy how hard I work. And I don't maybe fit any kind of assumptions or stereotypes. So we get there and I pull up in this driveway and there's 40 Fords, like moonshine, because that's part of his like background. He's in the moonshine like Hall of Fame and stuff. And so this guy has like a license plate that says vote for President Wallace and stuff like that from the 60s. I think that's the guy that said like segregation today, segregation forever or something.
No idea.
I think he's the guy in George Forrest Gump that was part of like this. Yeah. So super long story short is during this next 2 days, I worked.
You stayed with him for 2 days?
A day and a half. But within those 2 days of shooting, I worked my ass off, and I was working him too. I'm like, move the car this way, this, and he's like, God damn it, and like he's like fucking bossing me around, and I got through to him first because I said we started talking about baseball. I'm trying to find things to relate to him, and he talks about baseball, and he goes, man, I really love the Brooklyn Dodgers, and I was kind of fucking with him. I was like, who's your favorite player, Jackie Robinson? And
you did that on purpose.
Oh, I did. Absolutely.
Nice.
He goes, no. So anyway, I said, well, I had a Mickey Mantle car one time, but I sold it. And he's like, what do you mean? Why did you sell it? I'm like, well, at the time, that's when Ron and Culture went away, and I was going to start this, and I felt guilty. Even though I found the Mickey Mantle car for only $35, that could have been $35 worth of food on the table. I felt guilty, so I sold it. And he stuck out his hand. He's like, I respect you. And I was like, cool. That's one tally in my thing. And the next thing, I can't believe I'm telling this on recording. I think it's going to be okay. He tells me, I do a little writing myself, but my magazine's a little, more right wing. I'm so far right. He's like, I don't even use my left turn signal. He told me. So, and my go-to phrase, actually, my phrase is probably, "Oh, that's crazy," because I get kind of like nervous or I need to pass. So like my little snicker, like grab into a snicker moment, whatever. Is like, "Oh, that's crazy." I'm like, look at my magazine. "Oh, that's crazy." He goes, "I'm doing a study." Your dogs are here.
No, I'm gonna watch that. Okay,
Hey,
he's doing a study.
I'm doing a study
with his book.
My right, and he's like, "I'm doing a study that cancer is on the rise because of mixed breeding." And I'm like, whoa. And then obviously I'm like, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Just trying to relate. But like,
how am I going to relate to
I
that?
got to get the fuck out of here.
So, we talk about all these things. And I listen to him to the next day when I'm about to leave. And actually it ended very, positive. Before I left, I said, can I ask you something? And this is like a math thing. You're telling me that I'm probably going to more likely have cancer because I'm part of a mixed race religion. You're like, what?
No, you told him that after you stayed there for a day.
Yes, but nice. I wanted to show him before you know who I am or what I like.
Yeah.
Because it's just like Yeah. And I said, so because my dad is, hillbilly and native, and my mom's Mexican and this, and there's probably some school ish in there. I'm in some mutt. I'm a custom, right? I'm like that street.
I'm custom
with a K. And I was like, you're telling me that I'm going to have this? And he looked at me. He's like, you ain't nothing but white. He's like, look at the little bird lips you have. And I was like, okay. And I said, okay, let's just.
He's trying to make himself believe that for thinking that because he liked you.
Yeah. And he's like, damn it, you don't fit the bill that I thought.
Exactly.
And that's kind of like what that gentleman talked about, where he got that one Klan guy to leave because he said, oh, you're a criminal. But then he's like, well, white people are like serial killers. And he's like, well, I never kill anybody. He's like, well, I never robbed a car. And it's like silent. They realize, oh, that formula is broken, that ignorant formula. Yeah. So the second thing I said, let me ask you something. This is just math. You have this religion that we start from two people, but you don't like mixed breeding. So, but if you do the root and the root and the root and the bracket,
it all goes back to the same two people. It goes
to two people. So that has to be your brother. So when does it go from inbreeding to mixed breeding? And then when does it become wrong to your idea? And because I'm a mixed race kid, and look how hard I work. And he said nothing. And I was like, shit.
Because there's no answer for that.
There was no answer. And I said, I need to say something positive about this guy though, because he does some positive stuff. I remember one time he goes, after he kind of felt like the ball was not really in my corner, it's not a competition, but I wanted to change his mind on outlooks of people. And he goes, I think you might think I'm some, close-minded this and that, like, and he's like, but I'm a good Christian man. He's like, I set up this thing where he has like a fund where he pays for people's medicine. Doesn't matter what race they are. And I'm like, if you do that such good thing, why can't you tally that into every aspect of your life versus?
But I think that parents have a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
It's ingrained in them since they were born, that they're supposed to hate this person or these type of people or something. And whenever, what's going to happen is they're going to say, there's two white guys talking about racism and they don't know shit. Well, I grew up in Hawaii and I'm white. So the racism was against me. They didn't like white people in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So it was, I understand, but I didn't understand racism when I came from Hawaii to the mainland because everyone was every race where I was, you know what I mean? It was just normal, But I think it has a lot to do with the way they were raised, and they were raised, and then it's ingrained in their head, and it's just
if you get
because you changed his mind in a day and a half about things. I mean, little pieces of his mind, but it's so ingrained in him that he couldn't really believe it.
Yeah. And it would really be like almost an hour story, but I've already taken so much of your time. But that's the bit and pieces that remind me of. That's what I'm thankful I get to do, where hopefully I can drop a little seed in somebody that's thought about this for like almost 80 years about this. And someone that was on like the FBI's most wanted, some way, somehow I ended up at his house. And maybe
it was probably that dude burning crosses.
Yeah, no, he was on the FBI's most wanted.
No, are you kidding?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You were at his house?
Yeah.
At the guy, and he was on the most wanted list?
Yeah.
Did they catch him?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I don't know everything 100%, but I saw like he was affiliated with, but I don't know how he got like off. I don't know, but that's what. But instead of like,
so wait, they caught him and he got off of the charges.
I don't know. I don't know. So that's why I'll
this motherfucker, he's holding back, dude. Come on.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of like this. It's like I know of a certain individual that if I said like Timothy McVeigh, if he's running around with those guys, then you go like, okay, he's part of this thing, but I don't have the true facts. And just what we talked about in this magazine, I don't want to say anything that's not true because that's the discipline that I want to have. But I know what did happen.
No, I get it.
And his interaction.
But the name of the show is Talking Shit. So come on.
Well, I don't even know. I don't want to make up shit to talk.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
To go along with that though, it's that's what I love about this is the fact that I break so many barriers to where, like, to me, if you didn't like, again, back to the lowrider stuff, but if you had that culture's, let's say if you had a point of race to it, if you had what majority is in this, let's say if it's more the Mexican crowd, the Mexican culture.
It's true.
The food, if you rode in a lowrider and listened to like a certain song of that era and you go, I get it. I get the vibes and I dig it. It's the same thing from where when I'm shooting like a muscle car and you're sitting and you're playing a song from the 70s and you know that couple that had this car used to have like the long wavy hair and like the big, even the guy had the wavy hair, the certain mustache. And it's just like, I'm trying to take you back to the 70s.
Yeah.
And I think I should stop it there because this was so.
I'm gonna get that shit out of you after this shit's turned off, though. Okay. That's pretty interesting, dude.
We'll have to do it again, but I'll be able to come in with a little bit clearer mind because my whole mind this whole time's been a traffic jam because I never got to do a sit down 101, and it's like almost like I've been in a talking coma. But like, you know, Kayla knows about it. Mikey knows. The guys I work with know what, like I've been through, what I've accomplished and what it takes to do this. But no one's ever had it like recorded in person. So it's like, where do you start? But
yeah,
this
but
is
I mean,
part one.
Just dude, I mean, just hanging out and talking. I've learned a lot already, you know, and I love these magazines too, and your photos too, for sure. Okay, so the next one is, what profession would you never ever do?
I don't know if what I say a politician. Because because to me, I like this speaking the truth, and I feel like a lot of it is bullshitting, and I'm trying to sell you something. Like that's why it's kind of hard for me to do like advertising because I hate talking about money, and I feel like I can never do a profession that involves getting money out of people for nothing. Like what's it called? Triangle schemes or pyramid schemes?
Pyramid schemes.
Yeah, pyramid schemes. I think like I can never find myself. Oh, is this bad? I don't. Yeah, I would say Paul. I would say like anything like religious position or politics, because I feel like I'm trying to sell someone an ideology to get into their wallet, and I think I look at someone that's rich or poor actually the same because I don't want them to be treated bad because if they don't have money, and I don't want someone to be treated good because they actually have money. I try to treat people as if they have the same wallet as me. So any kind of profession that probably involves like in snake oil, like bullshitting, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I just can't do that. Now, the thing is, I can easily say I wouldn't be a photographer that shoots certain type of photos because I call it try hard. You're trying too hard. That's why you have to feel like you have to have a naked girl on a bullshit car because that's like have the most likes. Well, I'd rather have 6 likes of something that I love to do versus I'm going to get 1 million for what I'm not and what I don't like. So,
but wait. Let's slow down a little bit here. I still like the naked ladies. Okay, don't burn on those guys.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what I'm saying.
On a bullshit car though, that's different. Okay.
Yeah. But I would say I would never want to do.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I never want to do a position where I feel like it involves getting money from people for no reason.
Yeah. And I don't give a shit how much money somebody has. Man, so many times some people were telling me, hey, man, you know who that is? I don't give a fuck. And they're like, what? Am I going to get any of that money? No. Then what does it matter?
Yeah.
I'm not going to treat him differently. If he's nice, he's nice. I'll be nice to him. But I'm not going to get any of his money, so who cares? Who cares?
Do you have any students? You have to say names because I don't want them to feel like they got, and it's not really thrown under the bus or put on the spot. But do you have any students that would probably benefit, let's say, if I gave them my shin guards and my gloves that I rarely use? Like honestly.
No, probably not.
You don't have anybody?
Maybe, but.
Because that's something we talked about. And I obviously said, don't turn them in because you'll never use again. Well, if I'm going to use them, it's going to be here. You know what I mean? But I think I wanted to do something for.
Well, what we did with Sammy is we sent it to some places in Africa that wanted to train. We sent them a bunch of stuff.
Maybe
I say we. He sent them a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't send anybody stuff. Oh, but I did. When Corley put together something, I sent him a box full of gloves and shin guards that I made that I was just like, I just donated, you know? And then some used stuff too, because they could still use it and it was still good, you know?
I like to help out with that because obviously, let's say your world industry with the fight.
Man, you
world.
still got those things?
Yeah.
Why you still got those things?
Why would I throw them away?
You got to use them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just realistic about, like, I am just so swamped to where I feel like I'm not promised tomorrow. Doesn't matter.
Nobody is.
No one is. Doesn't matter who you are. It's not the angel of death was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you got 2 million views. I'll come back in a couple of years when you get back down to 16 likes. But anyway, I just look at stuff. It's like, am I going to use it right now? And I think of someone's mother that goes, I really want to put my child in this, but that extra $50 or whatever it is for that stuff, it's like if you go, hey, your son, daughter, actually, I just got a set donated. Like, you're good. We got you. And what if that kid turns into be an awesome fighter and he got that little help? We all that, there's that one thing, that guy has one lighter up and the one's not lighting, but you put it close and that, boom, you just need that little spark. That's what I think that could be a seed to help out somebody. There's been times where I've helped fighters get a sponsor or something and they go like, what do you want out of it? I was like, I want nothing. I don't want anything. I'm not the one fighting. Or
they're used to managers. I want 10% of everything you make, even if I didn't help you get it.
Oh, you know what I hate?
Managers? Yeah, me too. Anyway, wait. Sorry,
I have to say this story. I won't say the manager's name. You would know. I'll tell you after. But
yeah, I'll probably know.
One thing I was filming with some high end fighter champion, and I was filming. And I think I can't remember, it was on FaceTime or something, but they saw me or they said who I was shooting for. And they said something along the lines of like, oh, we don't want to give them time because they're like B level. But I'm like, do you know the content I've gotten? I have footage that even the UFC doesn't have. But I hope something happens with it because as a fan, I get to like have my fan cap on, but I also get to have my camera guy cap on, my responsibility. But as a fan, I would just love to see this footage of my favorite fighter, but to be called a B-level camera guy or whatever.
But you know what? It's the same thing about that guy with the magazine. Oh, a print magazine. Good luck. It's the same thing. It's because they forgot when they were B-level.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? Everybody was fucking B-level. Everybody was C-level. Then they built up to B. Then they built up to A. I could be B-level, but I'm getting better. I'm going to be A-level one day. And fuck you. Who are you to tell me I'm B-level?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And there's moments, and I just, that's the hard thing about that whole fight scene. You see it where I think a boxer talked about when he won the championship, like he had 300 missed calls. And when he lost, I think he had 1 missed call from his mom.
I forget who that was, but
that boxer. And see, my dumb ass, I try to use humor to fix things. And there was a fighter I was with and he got knocked out and I was like, I gotta like lighten up the mood if I can, my dumb ass. And we were walking in Bourbon Street and we took like a selfie together, like, hey, keep your head up. And he goes, send me that video. And I go, sorry, after you got knocked out, I deleted your number. So can you give it to me again? And he goes, what?
Oh.
And I'm just and I didn't do it. I was just joking with him, but he was kind of like, are you kidding me? Like, dude, I got you. But I thought if I make him laugh, maybe that helps. You know what I mean? But I just, that's a whole nother thing. But I was like, being in this
situation. You got knocked out. I don't fucking know you anymore, dude.
I'm like, actually, I deleted your number. Like before I even got to the aisle to walk up the stairs. But that's the thing though, in this industry, like when a fighter's out there, like when that's what like
you're
a part of them. And then when they get knocked out, you feel like you get knocked out too. Yeah. And you're like, what do you say? Like, how long do you text? And do you just go, love your brother?
But see, people, the problem is people think that like when you fight and you lose, it happens, dude. I lost in my hometown. And
what? You lost? I'm not fucking doing this.
Shut him. Yeah, but people think that, oh, nobody's going to talk to me anymore. And it's not like that, dude. It's fighting. You put it on the line, dude. You put it on the line. You're more brave than all these other dudes who didn't put it, or girls that didn't put it on the line.
You have to respect it. That when an individual puts themselves out there to be, is the word ridiculed or judged? It's a lot, man. And I have to.
Then they put themselves out there to get punched and kicked in the head. Yeah.
Yes. Plus the rest.
Plus vertical.
And on a smaller level, it reminds me of when we did the Banana Hammock movie. It's actually a Nash dragster that Mikey Brown built, and we were hoping humbly, like, if we get 1,000 views in a week, like,
what'd you get?
16,000.
Yeah.
And then we're at 120,000 now. But there was this moment, and Mikey's just, he's a gentle guy. But you look at you, like, he's intimidating, and he's sitting there, and he's okay for me talking about this. But we're at a race in Alabama, and the movie was blowing up, and we're so thankful it's going well. And the comments are exactly what we were hoping for. Oh, this makes me miss my papaw, or this makes me want to get in the not the gym, the shop with my dad, my son, my grandpa. We're inspiring people to do stuff with their family. But there was this moment, he's like weeping, like literally you see this, giant of a man, emotional. I'm like, what's up, buddy? And he goes, I was so scared this would fail, because if someone doesn't like this movie, it's not because, he's like, you shoot great and the car's good. But if this has had a lot of my life and my family and our way of living in Indiana, if they didn't like it, that means they don't like us and they don't like our way of living. And I was like,
which is just a thought. It's not a truth.
Yeah, I understand it, but I never thought about it because I'm behind the camera just trying to put this movie going. Yeah, it is advertising yourself, but we were very fortunate that we got. There wasn't really any negative things, and that's another thankful part.
And that's awesome.
Just the positivity, and I would say. Again, I think I should have to let you go, or let the watchers go. But that's why I'm so thankful for everything. Opportunity. I'm always thankful for opportunity.
Yeah, but with opportunity, you also have to grab that opportunity.
Yes,
so you have to have
walk
the motivation,
through that door.
And you have to go through that door.
In a cutthroat industry, it sucks.
Yeah, but every industry is cutthroat.
Yeah,
because there's douches all over the planet,
and I hate that. It's a part of me that. It sucks. Sometimes I work the hardest when I have competition.
Yeah, all of us.
It sucks.
Competition's good though.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah, competition is good, but it sucks that has to get to that point where you have this humble lifestyle in a sense, and then when someone puts you down, you have to when you stand up for yourself, it may seem like cocky or bragging, but then you're like, no, I can't let that person say I'm B-level.
Nobody sees how nice of a person you are until you stand up.
Yeah.
Everyone shits on you until you stand up and then you say, fuck you. And then you're an asshole. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's okay.
The person that pushes second gets the flag in football. You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah, I like that saying. I got to remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, one more, dude.
Okay.
Listen. At the end of your life, when it's all said and done, it's over. How would you like for people to remember you?
I think that dash, which represents who I was, I hope people remembered me as a guy that gave a shit about them before I even knew them. Gave people opportunity. Just a guy that just truly cared and just gave a shit. A lot of people don't give a shit about things, and it sucks too because obviously cussing and something that means a lot, but hope it doesn't take away from. I just want to be remembered as a guy that just cared and loved life, and I wanted people to love their own life, and I wanted to just make shit better and fun. I want people to remember stuff that we did and laugh randomly fucking. I don't know what Trent was talking about, but it was funny. Or
I remember the Photoshop chicken legs. Wait. Photoshop mullet,
dude. Oh yeah,
he photoshopped a mullet on me when I had a photo shoot with him one time, messing around. Photoshopped the mullet on me. Oh, it's awesome. I'll try to put it up too.
Awesome. But like I said, we'll have to do this again, and I think it'll be even clearer.
Okay, this is a lot. What's your website?
The magazine, speedandculture.com. That will lead you to all the magazine shirts and whatnot. Some of the best way to keep in touch with us is our Instagram. Is at Speed and Culture. You'll see kind of what we're up to, what we're documenting. And then my personal one is Trent Sherrill. My newest personal one now, because my other one got taken down, is Trent Sherrill Photography. But yeah, man, I would say if you're watching this, if you have an awesome car that's like pre-80 history, or your family served in the military, or musician, let me immortalize your history. It's like a free life insurance for your family history or your friend's history that you know of. So I said, let me be the guy that does your story, and let me immortalize it in
a Speed and Culture.
Yes.
That'd be dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, thanks for coming out, dude.
Hey, dude, thank you so much.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
This
brother.
was awesome, man.
Love you, man. Thank you so much.
Back. All right.
Oh,
My ears hurt.
oh, I know.
Man, but my cauliflower hurts my ears, man, when I have those headphones on.